The storm has begun, but will take all year. My patriots, have patience, I hear. For the greatest meet the POTUS in history. Righting the wrongs and turning the tides. The next stage is one that's golden for me and you. It's here. No more fake news. Straight to jail. You get some handcuffs too. Guantanamo, that's right. Don't bring no propaganda lies to me. The storm has begun, but will take all year. My patriots, have patience, I hear. For the greatest meet the POTUS in history. Righting the wrongs and turning the tides. The next stage is one that's golden for me and you. Hush, I sent some rats in here. Deep state no more. Hush, I sent some rats in here. Deep state no more. Hush, I sent some rats in here. Deep state no more. The storm has begun, but will take all year. My patriots, have patience, I hear. For the greatest meet the POTUS in history. Righting the wrongs and turning the tides. The next stage is one that's golden for me and you. The time to right the wrongs is here. Raise the flag for the beloved big bad of the year. Sit, get comfortable, and have a cold beer. Be patient, all is patriots, the storm is here. They've descended upon us like ants. With one massive plan, all of them began to bring joy to the masses again. If you are a patriot, you have one last chance. He lowered your taxes and brought your jobs back. You knew he would from the jump. Now he's coming for their heads, and then in a flash, the tyrants will be gone. He lowered your taxes and brought your jobs back. You knew he would from the jump. Now he's coming for their heads, and then in a flash, the tyrants will be gone. banners fly, the trumpets blare, hope and courage in the air. Steady stride, we make our stand. Together strong, we scan the land. Trump marches forward with a vision bright, leading us through day and night. In his hand, the future gleams. America awakened in our dreams. Fields of gold and amber grain, under skies acclaim his reign. Strength and honor guide his way through the night and into day. Trump marches forward with a vision bright, leading us through day and night. In his hand, the future gleams. America awakened in our dreams. Fields of gold and amber grain, under skies acclaim his reign. Strength and honor guide his way through the night and into day. Trump marches forward with a vision bright, leading us through day and night. In his hand the future gleams. America awakened in our dreams. In our dreams.
Oh, the cobblestones whisper a tale so old of a city tarnished, its heart grown cold. Through the alleys where shadows creep, we'll wake the town from its restless sleep. The brass will blare, the drums will roll, to sweep the grime from its weary soul. We're draining the swamp, clearing the way, bringing back the golden age today. No more crime, no more fear. The dawn of Washington's finest The lanterns flicker on the avenue where justice dances bold and true. The jasmine's tune lifts high the night, a promise of peace in the city lights. Every corner shines, each block restored. The city we love no longer ignored. We're draining the swamp, clearing the way, bringing back the golden age today. No more crime, no
face down in a cold motel. Just 23 with stories to tell. Parents crying in the morning light. Another candle won't bring them back tonight. Cargo slips across a quiet shore. Chemicals dressed for a shadow war. White as snow, but it stains like blood. Every pill pulls a soul through the mud. You say it's distant, just a foreign supply, but I see the flags draped where our children lie. How many more gotta fall? How many more gotta fade before you call it what it is? Not just a game you play. It's coming through the cracks from Caracas to LA, and we're dying in the silence while you look the other way. Powder lines in the sand. Will you draw one where you stand? Backroom deals and a winked exchange while the streets get colder, numb with pain. They call it policy, they call it trade, but it's blood for dollars in a slow parade. We buried hope next to Lord and faith, and you send thoughts when we need states. Diplomacy ain't worth the cost if all we do is count the lost. You say it's complex, just a war on demand, but I say it's murder with a shaking hand. How many more gotta fall? How many more gotta fade before you call it what it is? Not just the price you pay. It's coming through the cracks from Caracas to LA, and we're dying in the silence while you look the other way. Powder lines in the sand. Will you draw one where you stand? Sanctions ain't enough, and words are wearing thin. You shake their hands while we count the dead again. Don't call it a tragedy when it's strategy in disguise. This ain't a storm, it's a genocide. How many more gotta fall? How many more gotta fade? While poisons cross the border, sanctioned by charades. It's coming through the cracks from Caracas to LA, and we're buried by the silence while you turn the other way. Powder lines in the sand. If not now, then when you'll stay. In the land of the free, one by one, they stop to breathe.
Wait a second here. Did you know there's a secret gospel where Jesus gives classified information after the resurrection. Yeah. It's called the Apocryphon of John, and it flips the Genesis story right on its head. So in this lost text, John is devastated after Jesus dies, and boom, Jesus appears to him in a vision, not just to comfort him, but to reveal hidden truths about God, creation, and the soul. And here's where it gets wild. First, God isn't a guy on a throne. True God is pure, unknowable light, totally beyond form, no gender or anything like that, just source. And from that source comes a chain of divine beings called aeons. Think of them like aspects of divine thought. But one aeon, Sophia, acts without permission. She tries to create something on her own and accidentally gives birth to a flawed being, a demiurge. Now this being, he's blind, arrogant, and thinks he's the only God. You might know him as the God of the Old Testament. Yeah, that God. He creates the material world not out of love, but out of ignorance. And our souls, they're sparks of the true divine that is trapped here. Jesus' mission, according to this text, to wake us up and remind us who we really are. So the Apocryphon of John ain't just another gospel. It's a spiritual jailbreak manual of sorts, I guess you'd say. Not about sin and punishment, but knowledge and awakening. And it was banned for a reason. If you have any questions or thoughts on this, I'd love to hear them. Leave them over in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more.
Let me let y'all know something, man. They not opening the government back up. To all of them employees that being laid off during this crisis, it's over with. They not opening the government back up. This been the plan the whole time, y'all. Make it make sense. I'm pretty sure by now y'all done seen them people in Houston at the airport, thousands of people at the airport, no employees there. TSA didn't show up because, you know, the government paid them. Look, it's over with. There is no government. That's the big secret. Y'all haven't caught on yet. Listen, man, they running a psyops on us every week to see if we gonna go for it. They running a psyops on us every week to see if we're gonna go for what they putting down, y'all. Make it make sense. And guess what? People are going for it. They still going to work. They still paying taxes. Make it make sense. These billionaires could have been kicked the money in for snaps. For Snap. They could have been kicked down the money for Snap, y'all. Make it make sense. Y'all, it's over with. The way we was living, it's over with. Y'all don't understand that this is the time that we need to come together. It don't matter the color. It don't matter the race. None of that matters right now. It's over with. The government over with. Get in the comments and let me know what you think.
Okay. So we got stuff that's lined up, but I've got to put everything kind of on hold for a minute because this is going on. Yeah. I don't know if you knew that this was happening.
Including weight loss drug.
I want to make sure we get it right from the beginning.
Because again, we're bringing drug prices down to levels totally of the drug was possible. Tremendous cuts. 200%, 300%, 500%, 700%, a little bit more than that. So today I'm thrilled to announce that the two world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturers, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, have agreed to offer their most popular GLP-1 weight loss drug. I call it the fat drug, remember? At drastic discounts. They're really effective drugs. And So far, I've never heard anything bad about him. I only hear good about him. But is there anything bad about him, Bobby? I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Someday, maybe he'll come out, which will notify you immediately. But so far, I haven't heard that, including the drugs known as Zepbound and Wegovy, often called Ozempic. It's a triumph for American patients that will save lives and improve the health of millions and millions of Americans. Amazing thing. They are amazing. I want to thank Eli Lilly CEO David Ricks, a friend of mine. We've worked long and hard. He and I got this whole thing started in a way. And Novo Nordisk CEO Mike Dustar for joining us today. Great, talented people. They make a lot of money. I looked at the money, but they're entitled to the money because the companies are doing very well. Along with Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary Howard Lutnick. Do you take any of this stuff, Howard?
Not yet.
Okay, good. CMS Administrator Mehmet Oz, he doesn't take it. Food and Drug Administrator.
Okay, understand. All right, some of you are recognizing this, and some of you are not. When Trump highlights something, he's putting him in the spotlight for a reason. It's up to us to find out that reason.
Commissioner Marty McCary and Director of Medicare Chris Plum. And we have Steve here, Head of Public Relations for the White House. He's taking it. The United States is just 4% of the world's population and consumes only 13% of all prescription drugs, yet pharmaceutical companies make 75% of their profits from the American customer. I would say that's not so good, right? It's not exactly great. To address this chronic unfairness, I signed an executive order earlier this year instructing my administration to do everything in our power to implement most favored nations drug pricing, something that has been helped greatly by tariffs, because when nations refuse to do it, we should have put this in the case yesterday. I just say, well, if you're not going to do it, we're going to charge you a like amount of tariffs. And they immediately say, we'll do it, which means that Americans should pay no more than the lowest price offered anywhere in the world. So that you've heard for years the disparity where you'll pay $150 for a pill in New York and you'll pay $10 for a pill in London. Now you're going to pay $20 both, because the world is a little bit bigger than the U.S., so it goes up that way. But you'll pay $20 and $20. A tremendous advantage to our country after years of being abused by the world system. Already Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and EMD, Serono, have agreed to drastically lower their prices for American patients. And today, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are joining the phenomenal list of the most exciting announcements. I mean, nobody's ever had announcements like, and this has to do with other pharmaceutical products also. But we're covering this today because it's such a big seller. I guess it's the number one selling thing there is today. These are two companies that behind the groundbreaking weight loss drugs that have helped millions of Americans struggling with obesity live better, longer lives, everything else. These are the two companies that really broke ground. Until now, neither of these two popular drugs have been covered by Medicare for weight loss, and they've only rarely been covered by Medicaid. They've often cost consumers more than $1,000 per month, and some a lot more than that. Americans have been spending as much as 520% more for Zepbound and 1,400% more for Wegovy than patients in Europe. Think of that. 1,400% more than a patient in Europe for the exact same box. And that ends starting today. The other countries are not happy with us. I don't think they like me too much, Bobby, but that's okay. Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are committing to offer Zepbound and Wegovy at most favored nations rates for American patients. This will slash the cost of Wegovy from $1,350 a month to ultimately $250 a month. $1,350 to $250. Did I do a good job? They don't write about it, you know, they like to not write these things. And reduce, you think Biden could have done this? I don't think so. And reduce the monthly cost of Zepbound from $1,080 to $346. In addition, they're both committing that future GLP-1 weight loss drugs taken orally, which are currently under development, will be sold at no more than $149 per month. It's a massive, think of that. You go from $1,300 to $149 a month. We anticipate these new versions will be coming out in a very short period of time. All of these drugs will be available directly to the consumer at TrumpRx.gov. Trump, they want to use my name. Trump, it better be good. TrumpRx.gov. And I think it's turning out to be pretty amazing, right, us? Just as significantly, Medicare and Medicaid will finally cover the cost of these weight loss drugs for millions of patients suffering from obesity. Co-pays for Medicare patients will be as low as $50. This is tremendous savings. I mean, now you're talking about from $1,350 to $50. This is tremendous news for the American seniors. And you all remember when I had 1/8% for the year. I cut it 1/8, and I was so thrilled. But now we're cutting it 1,000%, 1,200%. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Nobody else could have done it, but I say that modestly. In addition, you think it was easy dealing with these people? It wasn't. You think it was easy saying, your drug, Mr. Eli Lilly, that we're selling for $1,300 is going to be sold for $250. You know, the amazing thing, the stocks all went up. I mean, these guys they're fantastic. Because it's going to equalize the world. The world's a bigger place, and it's going to equalize. I was a little surprised to see that, but I'm happy about it. In addition, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk have agreed to provide all of their other medications to Medicaid at most favored nations prices. Most favored nations, meaning that you will pay the lowest price anywhere in the world. That's what you're going to pay. Whereas before they paid low prices and we paid, you know, thousands of percentile ahead more. And to sell these drugs to all consumers at deeply discounted prices via TrumpRx.com. When is TrumpRx.com opening?
The site is open. It will launch in terms of giving people prices before the end of the year.
Okay, got to make sure it's successful. It's got my name on it. I don't want to be like so many others. I don't want to be like the train they're building in California. Okay, which has about a 15,000% cost overrun. Or the beautiful Obama building that he's building in Chicago for the museum, which is now shuttered up and dead. They got it up, and they couldn't finish. It's about, would you say, 5 years behind schedule? And about 2,000% over budget. Then he tells us how to run Medicaid. Many of the most widely used drugs will be available for 60% off, or even more than that. In addition, all new medications introduced by Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to the American market will be sold at the heavily reduced most favored nations price. Most favored nations price, that's the best, because they have been thousands of percent lower than what we were selling in many cases. Furthermore, Eli Lilly is investing $27 billion. That's all. And Novo Nordisk will invest $10 billion. That's all. That's peanuts. In the United States to reshore, do a big domestic manufacturing job in the facilities they're going to spend. So Eli Lilly spent $27 billion. Novo is spending $10 billion in the United States. So they're building new plant and equipment. That's part of what will be $20 or $21 trillion this year. There's never been anything like it. I know nobody talks about it, but there's never been anything like, I would say, you would say, that there's never been anything like this ever, whether it's China or Europe, or you could take all of Europe, there's never been anything like this. So we're already past 17 trillion. We're going to be, I think by the time the year closes out, we'll have investments of over $21 trillion based on the way we're going. And by the way, tariffs are very important. Without tariffs, perhaps it could be a little bit different, to put it mildly. Tariffs are so important. The decision in the Supreme Court would be devastating to our country if we got a negative, devastating if we got a negative decision. But this is a great day for American health and healthcare and for all of American patients. These are things that are miracles to have this happen. And they're, we're bringing all our medicines, again, because of tariffs, we're bringing all our medicines. If you remember where during COVID, we made almost no medicine here. We had to go to China, we had to go to Ireland, we had to go to other places, UK, to get our medicine. We didn't make it here. Now we're making it, we'll soon be making it all here, again, because of tariffs. And my election, but because of tariffs much more. For years, politicians have talked about making health care affordable, but my administration is actually doing it. Americans deserve the best health care in the world, and we're now getting the best health care at the lowest price. So I'd like to ask somebody who's doing a fantastic job, Secretary Kennedy, to say a few words, followed by Dr. Oz, Dr. Klum, and then Eli Lilly, CEO David Ricks, and Novo Nordisk CEO Mike Dustar. These are incredible stars in that business. Like Dustar is a big star. And I can tell you that David Ricks is one of the hottest people in the world in business, but the business that he's in is pharmaceutical. And the job he's done with Eli Lilly is incredible. Both of these gentlemen, they really are stars in the truest sense. And it's an honor to have you in the White House. And go to it, Bobby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to start by thanking you, Mr. President, for declaring war on chronic disease in this country. This is something no American president has ever done. If we want to solve the chronic disease crisis, we have to tackle obesity. Obesity is the #1 driver of chronic disease. 50% of our adult population are obese or overweight, and it drives about 50% of healthcare costs in this country. Diabetes, cardiac diseases, we are going to see a decline because of this historic agreement. We're going to see a decline in costs, but also, more importantly, in the afflictions themselves. President Trump is the friend of the forgotten American. Obesity is a disease of poverty, overwhelmingly. And these drugs have only been available for people who have wealth. At one point, the majority of prescriptions, the highest concentration of prescriptions in this country, was the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And what about the people who live in rural areas, who live in food deserts? What about the people in urban areas who live in food deserts and are suffering from obesity and are locked into that system where they can only get ultra-processed foods, which are aggravating the problem? This will be a lifesaver to them. It's not a panacea. It's not a silver bullet. President Trump has also instructed us to address and end the root causes of chronic disease, and we're doing that. We're about to release dietary guidelines that are going to change the food culture in this country. They're going to change the kind of food the military gets. They're going to change the kind of food that our children get. We're releasing those in December. The Presidential Council for Physical Fitness is going to get more Americans into, particularly our children, into physical activity so that we can attack the root causes of this. But in the meantime, there's nothing more important than we can do than lower this price. As I said, it is the #1 cost of all drugs. This is the biggest drug in our country. That's why this is the most important of all the MFN announcements we've made. This is going to have the biggest impact on the American people. All Americans, even those who are not on Medicaid and Medicare, are going to be able to get the same price for their drugs, for their GLP drugs. This happened because of the vision of David Ricks, of Mike Dustar and the other people and the people on our team who figured out a way to align the interests of the shareholders of their company with the health of the American public. And it is a momentous accomplishment. It took months and months of negotiations. And I had a wonderful conversation with Mike Dustar about his experience. And he thanked me for the caliber of people who are on our side of the negotiating team. Chris Klump walked away from $1 billion business in order to join this administration. Emma Hernandez, David Brooks, and of course, Dr. Oz and Marty McGarry, who made this happen. They saw that this could be a win-win situation, that this was not a zero-sum game. The Biden administration tried to solve this problem unsuccessfully, I might add, by throwing $40 billion at it. And they were able to achieve an agreement that will actually create savings for the American public. So we're making all of this available at a savings, and that's because the price of diabetes prescriptions is also going to drop. And the savings that we get from that are now going to make it available to people who do not have diabetes, people who have a BMI of 27 and above, or pre-diabetic, or have heart disease risk. They will be able to get it, but everybody will be able to get this drug, and it's going to change. We will lose, the American public, because of this agreement, will lose 125 million pounds by this time next year. So it is going to have dramatic effects on human health in this country. And I want to thank President Trump for his leadership. He said that I'd gotten a lot done as HHS secretary, but almost none of that is due to my ability. It's because I'm surrounded by people who are smarter than me, who are more able than me, and those people came into the administration because they were inspired by President Trump. People like Chris Klump are here because they see this.
Do you think they are smarter than you?
Yeah, believe me, they're a lot smarter than I am.
Tell them to take that job. He doesn't really mean that he's being modest.
It is true, unfortunately.
It's a beautiful thing.
But I want to thank you, Mr. President, because you've made me a success here by allowing me to attract these extraordinary people. And I want to again thank David Ricks, who we've been in this Oval Office again and again. You keep saying he's the smartest guy in industry, that he could talk a dog off a meat truck. But it came to the table, and Mike Newstar told me, he said,
Convinced people for 20 years that it was okay for Europe to pay $10 and for America to pay $140. That's why they make $45, $50 million a year. He did. Finally, I said that battle. You did. He did. But anybody could do that, they're entitled. But now it's down to what it should be.
and Mike Dusar told me what a pleasure it was to negotiate with people who were smart, who had common sense, who were able to put themselves in his position and hammer out this deal that is good for everybody. And it's great for the American public. I want to close again by just saying that this is a tool in the toolkit. It is not a silver bullet. It is an arrow in our quiver. It will allow a lot of people who are locked into high-risk obesity to finally lose weight, to reset, and then start doing the kind of things that will address the root causes of obesity. So I want to thank these extraordinary CEOs for sticking with us on this, for allowing us to make this happen. Mike Dustar said to me, he said, we've known we've had to do this for many years. We just haven't been able to get over the edge, and that this President Trump's order, his executive order, was a catalyst to do something that we always knew needed to be done. So again, thank you for your vision, for your commitment, and thank you to all the CEOs and all of my team for making this historic agreement happen.
Bobby, you haven't changed your view on Tylenol for women that are pregnant?
Oh, as I said,
Because there were some false reports out about Tylenol that probably change his view. I don't think he's changing.
I'm not going to change until the science changes, and the science does not look like it's changing. It's getting stronger and stronger. Every day we recommend is that mothers, pregnant mothers, talk to their physicians, that the mothers of small kids talk to their physicians, and we've advised the physicians to reduce the thresholds and to reduce the amount of Tylenol that they give to children as much as possible and only use it when it's absolutely critical.
Thank you.
So we're going to go through some of the deal points, but it does make itself clear that the real stake here is the forgotten man. President Trump, I believe you won the election because you remember the forgotten man. You speak to them, they hear you, they listen to you, and he connects well because he actually does things that materially change their lives. Secretary Kennedy spoke passionately, as he always does, about the problems with obesity. And just to put some very fine point numbers on this, obesity itself is responsible for half of all chronic disease and definitely generates more than a quarter of all the money we spend out of CMS, the $1.75 trillion that we spend annually. We need to address this tempest of dramatically increasing prices for healthcare, and you're not going to do it just by throwing money at the problem. You have to actually literally deal with the causes of the increase in price, and pharmaceutical prices are a part of that. They've been a part of it for a long time, but this president insisted that we address it. In fact, the first time I heard this directly from you, sir, was in January at Mar-a-Lago, where he took Secretary Kennedy, myself, Mr. Ricks, who you'll hear from in a second, to dinner, and demanded explanations for most favored nation pricing and what's wrong with it. And there was not a good reason against it. Now, MAHA is critical. America will have to get fit in order to right-size the healthcare system, and MAHA has the answers. It has obesity management through diet and exercise and sleep and dealing with issues related to that. And I want to say it as clear as I can, obesity is not an absence of GLP-1 drugs. We're all clear on that. But as Secretary Kennedy said, it is an arrow in our quiver that we must use and should use. The MAHA movement means making it easier for the right things to happen, easier for you to be healthy. If you're sitting at home and watching, that's what MAHA means to me. Reducing costs of the #1 most expensive medicine category in our country for Americans does just that. It is as MAHA as it gets. Today's the fourth MFN. President Trump highlighted the first three. Leading U.S. company, leading European company. We've dropped in fertility drugs, so we'll make lots of Trump babies, I'm hoping, by the midterms. But it's really about fairness. Fundamentally, it's fairness in pricing to Americans who have been getting ripped off, paying 3 times more than their European counterparts for the exact same product made in the same factory, in the same bottle, in the same packaging. We shouldn't be paying 3 times more, and we are no longer doing that. Fairness to the forgotten man also means dealing with the reality that they can afford a life-saving, life-changing drug that 10% or more of affluent Americans take, but folks without means can't manage it. Secretary Kennedy mentioned New York City. Actually, the #1 zip code is the Upper East Side, which is where you have property. And folks who know ritzy areas buy important real estate there because those real estate properties are worth a lot there. That should not be the #1 zip code in America for purchasing GLP-1 drugs. It speaks to the fact that we have an innately unfair system that penalizes folks who can use these medications the most, folks in the Rust Belt. Now, what are you supposed to do if the right thing to do for your health is right there, but you can't afford to get it? Folks need to be able to utilize these life-saving medications, and being fair about its distribution is essential. And we are democratizing access to these medications and dealing with a moral imperative to make sure that all Americans have access to avoiding all the obesity-related complications by making sure they can afford, if they do things right, not just MAHA appropriate interventions, but also medications like this. In fact, we think these deals, and this part's very important, we believe these deals within 2 years, by the time the ink dries on these contracts that were signed earlier today, within 2 years, based on our health improvements, we will be budget neutral. These drugs will not cost us money. The American taxpayers will be getting their money back. That's how important it is for us to reduce the costs of healthcare in this country, especially when it's due to preventable problems like obesity. In addition, we have an update, Secretary Kennedy. We thought it was 125 million pounds. Mr. President, our estimate, based on the company numbers as well, is Americans will lose 135 billion pounds by the midterms. But I don't measure it in pounds. I measure it in saved lives. People can sleep again because they can breathe as when they go to bed. Folks whose knees don't hurt. People who don't have heart attacks, renal failure, dementia, all the things we know are associated with obesity and much more. This wouldn't have happened if we didn't have the right tools and had the ability with a team that has been spoken of early. So I want to call out Abe Sutton. He's in the back right there. He leads the CMS Innovation Center. It made the deal possible. And they're announcing today a new model, a brand new model aimed at getting to the vulnerable populations amongst us these medications. The forgotten man will be able to afford these drugs now. Governors will be thanking President Trump. They should be calling directly, sir, because they're going to be able to afford Medicaid next year in ways unimaginable, and they will stop crowding out education and other civil services. We cannot be a wealthy nation without being a healthy nation. That's why today's MFN deal is a historic step forward for all America, and this is something that I don't think is partisan. There is no way you can argue against what just happened. These numbers to my side here, Texas Administrator McCary, who's been instrumental in this process as well. $1,350 baseline. Chris Klump will go through the numbers, but just focus on that $245, which is what he's going to point you to. And Chris Klump has been an unbelievable leader, an innovator. You've heard his name before. He's spoken here before, but he is continuing to change the face of CMS. And I love the fact that with his leadership, we're bringing a lot of wonderful people in. Inma Hernandez has been mentioned, John Brooks as well, and many others, including Beth Kelly, who runs the legal issues around these issues, because these guys are barracudas, Mr. President. They will take you down, slice you in little bits. And that Howard's been there. It's no longer happening. You've got sharp folks. We're open for business. It's a generational opportunity to serve, and people are showing up. God bless you. Let me introduce now Chris Klump, who is just makes my life easier every day. I'm so proud of him.
All great deals are rooted in principles. We've talked about this before, and today we're announcing another truly great deal. I love this deal, and it's rooted in the principle of potential. This is about unlocking the full potential of every American, the grandmother, the grandfather, the father, the son, by unlocking access to affordable life-saving medications that make a meaningful difference in their lives when they need them most. That's what today delivers. It's a deal built on principle for people, for the American people, and backed by policy that works. So the most important step to getting healthy is believing that your life has value, that God meant for each of us to have purpose and joy and to live fully. And to do that, we must be good stewards of our body. And the president has been fighting to provide another tool to do just this and enable this. And it's my pleasure to get to outline the contours of the deal today. So first and foremost, customary with the three prior announcements, all of the customary most favored nation terms that you've grown familiar with apply to these two deals. So this is actually deals 4 and 5. Full Medicaid portfolios today at most favored nation prices. Shared savings from existing drug prices in Europe deployed back to the United States. All primary care drugs at U.S. net prices or most favored nation prices available on Trump RX before the end of the year. And most importantly, all future drug launches across commercial, Medicaid, Medicare, and the cash markets at most favored nation prices going forward. Now, GLP-1s. So first, under this agreement, starting doses of oral GLP-1s will cost just $149 a month for everyone. That's roughly 1/8 the cost of the list price today. For Medicare, manufacturers are voluntarily reducing their prices for GLP-1s currently used for diabetes and other covered indications to $245 per month across all doses. The savings generated from this change in prices will be used to provide new coverage to obesity and those who struggle with obesity and also have high metabolic or cardiovascular risk. Again, all for the same $245 a month. That means Americans struggling with diabetes and obesity, with heart disease, or other chronic conditions can access these life-changing drugs more affordably. Medicare patients, importantly, will only pay $50 a month for a copay. This is a massive reduction from what happens today. For Medicaid, Novo and Lilly have agreed to extend the same new low government pricing to all 50 state Medicaid programs should they opt in. And we encourage them to opt in, and these will be available not just for diabetes and current covered indications, but also for obesity again. And in case you're getting tired of me saying it, at the same price of $245 a month, all covered doses. On Trump RX, the average price of injectables and orals will start at $350 on average. That's compared to roughly $500 today. And that will trend down to, you guessed it, the same $245 a month over the next 24 months. That is 1/5 of the list price. It is 1/2 of the best price in the United States today. We're hoping, Mr. President, that your friend who has to travel to England to afford these drugs will no longer need to do so and can come and do it in the United States. I'll also just mention that the $149 is $1 less than what you asked us to achieve. Just gonna make sure that's clear. So I want to highlight two other really important points that make me love this deal so very much. First, this isn't about spending more, it's about spending smarter. The savings from the diabetes drug price reductions are being used in a cost-neutral way to fund the new indications for taxpayers. That's amazing, and that happens inside of that same 24-month period. It's cost neutral. We're spending the money more wisely. But second, this isn't just about lower drug prices for Americans, though it does do that, but together with physical activity, with healthy eating and diet, and where appropriate, the use of breakthrough GLP-1s, the real return on investment is healthier Americans, lower chronic disease, lower costs, we estimate by tens of billions of dollars a year, and most importantly, higher productivity. Today is about freeing Americans from the weight, literally and figuratively, that holds us back. It's about unlocking the potential of every citizen to live fully, to contribute fully, and to find joy in their health. We cannot reach our full potential as a nation if we do not reach our full potential as individuals. And we cannot reach our full potential as individuals if we are not healthy. Thanks to Nova and Lily for showing up so constructively over the last several months to make this possible. In particular, thanks to you, Mr. President, for again demonstrating that you fight for every American, this time for potential. It's now my sincere pleasure to first introduce Dave Ricks from Lilly and then Mike Dusta from Nova.
Great, thank you, Chris. It's truly an honor to be here today for this historic step forward to expand access to a class of medications that can fundamentally change the arc of chronic disease in our country. Of course, these are the incretin or GLP-1 agonists that we've been speaking about. For nearly 150 years, my company, Eli Lilly, has been investing in America. We've been advancing science and creating high-value jobs. But today, are you okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah. Okay. Let's take a break. Yeah.
Okay, so what just happened there?
Gordon, you okay?
And then Mike Dusta from Nova.
Great, thank you, Chris. It's truly an honor to be here today.
So watch this guy right
for
here.
this historic step forward to expand access to a class of medications that can fundamentally change the arc of chronic disease in our country. Of course, these are the incretin or GLP-1
this guy right here
that we've been speaking about. For nearly 150 years, my company, Eli Lilly, has been investing in America. We've been advancing science and creating high-value jobs. But today, are you okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
Okay, so Gordon, somebody, I don't remember his name. Wow. That's not a good way to go there. We'll see what they come and say about that. Slow, you with me?
Yeah, for another few minutes.
For another few minutes. I'm waiting on the water.
Okay. Yeah, sorry guys. The president was a surprise to both of us. We did not know that he was that he was going to be doing this announcement this morning, or else we would have already been rolling through the information that we have for you today. So why don't you go ahead and get started, but try not to get into anything that is going to be too long. That would, because I know you got to cut out for a few minutes to go do a water test.
So, over the last few days, I have been into it really bad with X. Hawkeye, I told you about this last week. And I stopped paying for X. I just stopped paying for it. So as of whenever my thing expires, I will no longer have my blue check mark. So those of you that follow me on X, if you see me after next month without the blue check mark, it is me. I just don't pay for it anymore because I'm getting suppressed like really, really bad. And I'm not paying for a service that is going to basically tell me to shut up. so yeah. So there's that. Second thing, I got a hold of my senator yesterday, the one that I really don't like, Todd Young, about the shutdown. I don't know if I told you about that this morning or not, Hawk.
Yeah, you did.
And I said, basically, look, I think we need to keep the government shut down. During this time, I think they need to do a budget, an actual budget, because we haven't had an actual budget since 1997. And yeah, I don't think they like that answer too well, but then again, I don't really care. But that is the House of Representatives' sole responsibility is the purse and to make sure there's a budget passed every year. And they haven't been doing it for the last 30 years almost. But there's that. And I have a few other things that I have to kind of go into detail about them, and I don't want to do that and then have to cut out. So for a few minutes, I think I'll be out a total of maybe 30 minutes or so. But Hawk, what do you think about what I said about the budget? Am I way off base there?
No, well, it is something that needs to be done, but it's, this is the thing is, I think something is going to, for some reason, I don't think the government's going to reopen.
Yeah, well, John Kennedy was talking about that yesterday.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to reopen. There's something. There's. And this is the thing is that the corrupt system has to go down. And honestly, I don't think that the corrupt system can go down if it's open. I think that during the shutdown period, they've gone in and they've cleared out all the servers and the hard drives and everything, and have compiled all the evidence, additional evidence that was necessary. I think that this election that's just gone on in this last week with Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Ohio, that there was, and then also in California, that there was a lot of rigging that went on. Basically, I believe that we are at the point now where the American people are, the majority of American people are completely done with politicians. We're done with it. Looking at the Trump's side of it, I look at a businessman who has made some extremely, profitable business deals for America, and at the same time has brought the world to a verge of peace for a first time. But again, the actors that are there are still doing everything necessary in order to block him every which way. Now, the Supreme Court was hearing arguments yesterday. I believe that they're still in court today in regards to the tariffs. I believe that there was more there. There was an idiot from Oregon who was who is. I am, there's a time, that I say I am glad I am not from Oregon, because my brain would have been warped like beyond belief. And I wouldn't know any of this stuff right now if I hadn't come from someplace else where and done other things that showed me the level of corruption that's going on, and it's so there's a lot there's a lot there.
Speaking of the tariffs, I was listening to some of the arguments yesterday.
No, it was not Trump, it was somebody else.
And the arguments that were being made, you just heard the justices ripping into John Sauer, the Solicitor General. And I was like, what is going on here? Because while yes, Congress is the only one that has the power to tax, but it is up to the executive branch for trade deals. So they can do that as part of the trade deal, and it's a negotiating tool is what it is. So, and that it's one of those things, I guess. Yeah. But it could go either way based on what I heard yesterday and what I heard this morning. It could go either way.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But I'm gonna hop out here. That dude's gonna be here anytime, and I'll be back as soon as he's done.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right, brother. All right. We'll
later.
See you in a bit. Yep.
All right.
Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and jump into this. Let me get back to the beginning, right? Yeah. Are you saying that that's muted? No sound? Hang on a minute here. I'll be damned. You're right. It was muted. Why?
When a Jewish woman admits that Jewish people are at the forefront of every leftist issue in America, she demands applause.
We've been at the forefront of every liberal and leftist issue in this country.
When other people say the exact same thing, they're called anti-Semitic. The BLM riots, open borders, feminism, Marxism, wokeism, environmentalism. Even Dennis Prager said that every ism was created by Jews. But let's be honest here. The right supports the wars in the Middle East. which creates the mass migration, and the left opens the borders, which lowers the risk of widespread nationalism. In the end, they both work for the same guy for us to stay divided. The right and the left is just a social construct for us to argue. Same thing with religious labels. They don't care if more Jewish people are hated right now, because if something bad happens to an innocent Jewish person, it will give them every reason to push for more totalitarian control. The agenda of this group doesn't function with labels. They leave that for us. The bought-off Christian politician is as guilty as the Jewish lobbyist that paid him off. They work as one, so we also have to work as one. But for goodness.
Turn off the noise. Yeah, the noise. Lots and lots of noise. Yeah, I do want to, well, that's my list for today, but I want to check and see if there's any update in regards to Gordon. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and go here.
I just got seriously humbled by a 70-year-old man at the grocery store. We're all lined up to go and pay for our stuff. He is lined up in front of me, and this lady comes out and is like, "You're in the wrong spot. You guys need to line up over there." So me and another lady go line up elsewhere. He stays there. He's clearly confused. He's a senior citizen. It's fine. It happens. It's going to happen to me. I get it. So she comes out again and says, "You can't line up here. You have to line up over there." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And so he's going to walk behind me, at which point 4 other people have jumped in line behind me. I'm like, "No, that's not fair." I was like, "You were in front of me. You go ahead. You can go in front of me." He's like, "Oh, are you sure? I was in front of you? Are you sure about that?" I was like, "Yes, I'm sure. You were definitely in front of me. Hop in." He's like, "Oh, you know what? Thank you for your honesty. It doesn't happen very often anymore, and I really appreciate you being honest." I was like, "Oh, no worries. It's fine." He's like, "It's such an odd world we live in now, and I just don't know what to think of it anymore." I was like, "Oh, yeah. It's philosophical here. I love this. Yeah, it is an oddball world. I agree with you. It is odd. Things are not going well for society right now." And he goes, "Sometimes I'm happy that my life is almost over, so I don't have to live in this world anymore." I was like, what? What? If simply letting somebody in front of you at the grocery store is a massive gesture of kindness, we have to do better as a society right now. Our senior citizens don't know how to take this world that we're currently living in.
And we see half of them being used, I said, not a small term, you know, not even in the lightest inkling. The elderly are literally being used in regards to these elections, the voting, everything all the way down the line. Yeah. And this guy here.
Somebody who is as independent as you could possibly get politically. My politics have nothing to do with party and everything to do with I love my country, I love the people of my country, and I love whatever makes my country and my people better. That's my politics. So with that said, MAGA Republicans are losing their fucking mind right now. They're losing their mind because they don't know how this happened. How did Mamdani get voted in? And they won in a landslide the previous election. And the reason they won in a landslide previous election, both Republicans, Democrats, Independents, they all voted for Trump and the administration because they believed that they were going to put Americans first. They believed that they were going to make their lives better. They were going to bring the cost of living down. They were going to bring the cost of groceries down. They were going to put American energy interests first. They were going to put American ranchers first. They're going to put American farmers first. And they haven't. They've done nothing but lie to the people about everything from murders to Epstein file to Charlie Kirk to giving $40 billion for beef in Argentina to everything for Israel, 10, 15 bills that have been signed into law just while they've been in office for Israel. Billions of dollars are flowing to Israel, even though the government is shut down and our American soldiers not getting paid, SNAP benefits and EBT and food benefits. What MAGA Republicans need to do is quit crying in the corner and look at how this happened and why this happened. People aren't loyal to a party. They're not loyal to endorsements. They're not loyal to celebrities. People are loyal to whoever they believe is going to make their life better. And when you have a capitalistic society that people cannot afford to live in unless you're a millionaire, billionaire, it's going to create some chaos within the people, and they're going to vote whatever way they need to make their lives better. As somebody who likes to read a lot of literature and history, socialism does not work. It sounds great. Socialism is one of those things that in conversation, the premise of it, at the heart of it, is beautiful, but it just is not. It's just not realistic implemented in society, especially a capitalistic democracy. Every place that's tried to implement socialism, it starts off good, but then it slowly switches into the lane of communism because they have to mitigate the problems that socialism brings in order to level the playing field. But that's a conversation for a whole nother time. You're wondering how to get your party back? I'm going to tell you how. Put America first. Quit fucking lying to the people. Say fuck you to Israel, and come back to the heart of the people. That's how you win the people back.
Yep. And yeah, there are a lot of people out there saying stuff, a whole lot, you know. But let's get into my feed. We're going to go back a little bit. Wasn't expecting all of this. And let's see. I'm going to play something else from that guy too in a few minutes here. That guy that I just played, because there's a couple of things going on there that I think need to be addressed. Let's see. All right, we're getting there. Okay. That's the airports. Or Nancy Mace's video. Okay. All right. So this is where I'll start here. Tomorrow's United States Supreme Court case is literally life or death for our country. With a victory, we have tremendous but fair financial and national security. Without it, we are virtually defenseless against other countries. President Donald J. Trump. All right. Outrage is erupting after the U.S. might be forced to close down American skies because Chuck Schumer kept the government shut down. Here's Secretary Duffy.
The controllers got 90% of one payment, 80 to 90% of one payment. They missed the second paycheck. On Thursday, they get an email pay stub that'll show what their next payment is going to be. So this Thursday, they'll get an email that shows that their pay stub is a big fat zero. Many of the controllers said, a lot of us can navigate missing one paycheck. Not everybody, but a lot of us can. None of us can manage missing two paychecks. So if you bring us to a week from today, Democrats, you will see mass chaos, you will see mass flight delays, you'll see mass cancellations, and you may see us close certain parts of the airspace because we just cannot manage it because we don't have the air traffic controllers. The controllers got 90% of one payment, 80 to 90%.
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting to see what direction that this goes. We'll see what happens. So Nancy Mace says, so the airport video just dropped will blow your mind. I am discussing all legal options with my very good attorneys who have a reputation for winning in court. Just received the full video. The airport failed to provide us the footage we requested, so we got it elsewhere, like we always do. The video of my movements and interaction, or rather entire lack of interaction with officers, TSA, and airline compared to the false incident reports is quite frankly shocking. There is very clearly no inappropriate behavior. There is an extremely brief moment when I am greeted by airport security and I turn to say something. Was it 1 second or was it two? Hard to discern. Airport CEO Elliot Summey and all of those involved with smearing my good name, filing false information and false incident reports should resign immediately right after they retract their lies. To any media involved who have yet to correct the record, you will also be on the hook. Elliot, I am looking forward to your resignation. Tomorrow will suffice. Hope your computer is charged up. Time to start typing. Hold the line. And so this video, I guess, shows her interaction. pointing at. What is this showing? It's not showing anything. Oh, so we just watched all of that for you to walk down a hallway? Yeah. It doesn't tell us a whole lot there, lady. Yeah. But this is what could be coming to an airport near you thanks to the government shutdown.
I'm very tired. Security lines Monday in excess of 3 hours long at Houston's Bush Airport. TSA staffing is so low, the airport could only open checkpoints in 2 of its 5 terminals.
Okay, so remember the other day I was talking about, some of the posts that, that have been getting highlighted, right? So let's go ahead and take a walk here for a minute. I just want to go to, there's supposed to be a way. I've got to remember how to do this. Refresh posts. I think that's it. Dang, now I hate it when it does that. It's so annoying. Okay, this one is load all posts. Sort. That's what I want. I want to sort. There we go. Okay. So so this is let's see, which one is it? So extradition already in motion, effective yesterday in several countries in case of a cross-border run. Okay, so the borders have been closed. The airports are now, let's see, I don't remember which one it was, but I know it was in the first couple of posts. Let's see. Because all of this stuff is like everything is lining up right now. Everything is lining up. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna type in. You know what? Let's type in. Let me try. Okay. So we had so what local airports are in close proximity to DC? Okay. So the other day, there was a bomb on a United flight at Reagan International Airport. I don't remember it even being on the mainstream media news. It was covered by a local station that just happened to be at the airport at the time that it happened. And then there were some streamers who picked it up as well because they were in the airport. So what airport did the departure take place at? No, that's not the one. That would be in regards to Bin Laden and the Bin Laden family being removed from the United States. But TSA, let me see if TSA is in here. TSA. Who is the head of the TSA? How does HS interact with TSA. It's kind of funny that post comes back up with that, right? Yeah. But the thing is something to do with prevent, stop inbound, outbound sea level targets. Okay. You know, and it's basically, you know, there's something going on with the airports and the reason why they're shut down. And I think it has, I'm telling you, this stuff is 100% in the works of the cleanup. You know, you notice that normally we hear from politicians who are back home with their constituents while Congress is out and everything else. You notice we're not seeing them people. You notice they're not making statements on TV with everything going on. They're not making posts on Twitter or anything else. These things are all just kind of put on the back burner, you know, for them. You know, I understand time off and everything else, but at the same time, no public appearances, no speaking events, things like that. You know, now on the Democrat side, we are seeing that, but we're not seeing it on the Republican side at all. So, except for like Burchett, Tim Burchett, Mark Mullins, and a few others. So I think that there's something to this. I believe that it's probably part of the cleanup. I honestly, I don't think this is going to drag out much longer because the American people are done. MAGA is done. A good portion of MAGA are done with all the bullshit. You know, we want things situated and we want our lives back, and that's basically what it boils down to. We want our fucking actually we want the entirety of our lives back. You know, all of it. We want all of it back. Everything that we paid into you people that have betrayed us over and over and over again, treasonous fucks that you are. You know, so there's going to be so much more to it than what we know. So blaming conservative infighting for what happened in New York is as out of touch as you can get, and this is part of it. You know, I don't think it was conservative infighting. It was that everybody was focused on individual things that they didn't end up focusing on what happened in New York. And what happened in New York is pretty much on New York. Nobody can do anything about that. Now, I'm not saying that in regards to the state. I'm talking about, you know, I'm talking about, you know, in New York City.
Well, Johan Mamdani is going to be the new mayor of New York. At the end of the day, it really didn't matter because this is kind of what you're voting for. There's really no America First person in this equation. There was the Republican guy in the beret. I can't think of his name, but even Trump didn't endorse him. He endorsed Cuomo, pictured right here. All the big major conservative talking heads out there who are like, well, this is what happens when you have the entire party doing nothing but argue with each other. That wasn't this. You're out of touch. That wasn't this. Was immigration. There's that. Like, people want what they had in their old country and their new one, which I'll never understand because isn't that the whole reason he came here? There's the free everything, which is what Mamdani told everybody he was going to give them. They were going to get, you know, complete rent freeze and free stuff, and it's socialism. We've seen through the food stamp files how much people love that shit. You know, they just gobble it up without any regard to where it comes from or how it has to get there. There's the obvious one where people are just sick and tired of the same bullshit from the GOP and the Democratic Party. And in their minds, they're like, well, let's do something new. You're either standing with Israel and Israel first, or you're standing with democratic socialism. Those are the options that you had because we don't have any America First candidates running in these races. We don't have any America First candidates running in a lot of races that are going to be coming up. He's been ragging on Marjorie Taylor Greene for going on The View, but it seems like everybody that's ragging on her didn't watch it because a lot of us did, and it wasn't terrible, and it's kind of exactly what we need right now. He needs to win more people over. She's right about a lot of things. The GOP is a feckless, hopeless, worthless institution they all are. Too busy trying to be influencers on the internet, posting selfie after selfie after selfie, okay, to actually do anything for the American people. And when they're not doing that, they're slobbing the knob of Netanyahu, or they're slobbing the knob of Ukraine, which was a lot of the left during the Ukraine conflict. Nobody should be surprised by this. Nobody should be. The whole two-party system, the whole GOP, Republican, Democrat, it's gross, and it's done. It's dead. The whole party ideology is dead. That's how this happened. Politics is no different than business. Business 101. If you don't deliver on what you promised, then don't expect return customer. None of us are getting what we were promised. And that's just the way it is. Could have went two ways. Okay? This could have went, we delivered on what we promised. You know, everything is going to be fine, and we're doing what we told you we would do during campaign season, and we're going to be America first and America only. Or whatever the fuck happened in New York. That's what this is. That's what it was. And anybody that voted for Mandami and that had food stamps and that's no longer getting them, I mean, that's what happens, right? It might be good for a while. It might be good through midterms, right? Because they're going to want other states to get involved in democratic socialism. So midterms, I anticipate them building up New York. Look how great it is. Look how great of a job he's doing until midterms. So that more people vote in democratic socialism. And then once they have enough people, they'll just shut it off. You'll get bread lines and cheese and government cheese. It won't just be the needy or the hungry. It will be everybody. We have very few actual America first people in the landscape right now. And if you pay a really close attention, those very few people are coming under massive attack. Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all of them are turning on the party. The party is fucking worthless. This GOP party is worthless. Done nothing. Ted Cruz is out here. He's a senator for Israel. You've done nothing. You've done nothing. You're shocked? And somebody had the audacity to blame conservative voters. They're like, well, if you weren't so busy arguing with ourselves. I'm not arguing with you. I don't want you to be Israel first. I want you to be America first, like you ran and campaigned on. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought that was part of this, but maybe it's not. Listeners, I guess we'll see what happens. What you gonna do?
Yeah. Just saying. There's more to it. Remember this lady? Remember this lady? This lady right here. Oh boy, this is good.
So, the welfare fraud department of my county just left my house. Are you guys happy? Are you guys happy? I get a knock at my door. I open the door, and of course, there's 3 people in, nice work clothes, whatever. I thought it was CPS. Okay, big surprise there. No. It's the welfare fraud department. I didn't even know there was a welfare fraud department. Okay, so with everything that I have going on with my food stamps and everything, they are going to be tracking every single paper trail that I have had attached to my name for the last 10 years. They are going to be digging up everything. I am possibly facing criminal charges for this. This is not just something where they take your food stamps, for a couple weeks or no. This is actually criminal. So I hope you guys are happy.
Well, I mean, if you committed fraud, yeah, you broke the law. Now something could be,
Congressional critics are questioning whether Dick Cheney helped Halliburton get billions.
The FBI has revealed it is expanding its investigation into how Halliburton Company billed taxpayers for its contract work in Iraq.
And it now appears some of those contracts were awarded with the knowledge and approval of the Vice President's office, which would seem to contradict his previous statements.
As Vice President, I have absolutely no influence of, involvement of, knowledge of, in any way, shape, or form of contracts.
We did a report that took 2.5 years, $600,000, 33 people, including 10 investigative reporters on 6 continents, looking at private military companies and outsourcing war all over the world. Doors opened not not only in Washington, but in capitals all over the world. And yes, he becomes personally wealthy from that. No question about it. His net worth went from $1 million or less to $60 or $70 million in the span of 5 years.
Are you ready to take the oath? I am. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
So we elected a government contractor as vice president.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
This could be Indonesia, sounds like Russia, Nigeria. No, it's the United States of America. And everything I just said is entirely legal, and it is our system of legal corruption. It looks bad. It looks bad. And apparently Halliburton more than once has overcharged the federal government. That's wrong.
How would you tackle a problem like that?
I would have a public investigation of what they've done. What's that? Vice President's on the phone? Okay.
Probably have to take the call.
Whenever you get into a situation where anybody's got unwarranted influence, it has.
It looks bad. It looks bad. And apparently Halliburton more than once has overcharged the federal government. That's wrong.
How would you tackle a problem like that?
I would have a public investigation of what they've done. What's that? Vice President's on the phone? Okay.
Probably have to take the call.
Whenever you get into a situation where anybody's got unwarranted influence, it has the potential to be deeply distorting. It corrupts our system.
You don't have to show that he directly came in and hit the cash register button. The door flew open and he took some money out and put it in his pocket. It's to say anybody allocating things at the Department of Defense knows who the vice president is, knows what his connections are in Halliburton.
We have a process that it has a seamlessness where the corporate interests that stand to benefit are so intertwined and interwoven with the political forces that the financial elites and the political elites have become the same people. That the financial elites and the political elites have become the same people.
It is reportedly not a coincidence that Vice President Dick Cheney's old company got a huge contract to help rebuild Iraq. Time magazine said it has gotten a hold of a Pentagon email saying Cheney's office coordinated Halliburton's multi-billion-dollar deal.
The contract with Halliburton was based on the so-called cost-plus formula, in which the company is reimbursed for all expenses incurred and on top receives a profit that is proportional to such expenses.
The cost-plus arrangement, the critics say, leaves little incentive to save. The more taxpayer dollars Halliburton spends, the more Halliburton makes.
The place that they chose for orientation in Kuwait was a huge resort set right on the ocean. Had, I think, 3 swimming pools.
Marble floors, mahogany woodwork. It's just beautiful. You could go and rent wave runners and go out and play in the water.
I was told this, don't question it, enjoy it.
It was so lavish. Rows of vegetable platters, beef platters, fish platter.
We had it made over there compared to the military. I mean, those guys were living in tents and we had air-conditioned private hooches.
The soldiers are sleeping on these little cots out in the middle of the desert. While these KBR executives are driving these $40,000 vehicles.
This secretary lives in this complex, eats her meals in this complex, has her laundry delivered to her, has no reason to go anywhere at any time, but has a brand new top-of-the-line Ford or Chevy pickup with everything imaginable on it that you could put on it.
Chrome rims and leather interior and CD players and all these extra amenities that, you don't really need in wartime.
Why do they need an H2 Hummer? Why do they have Cadillac Escalades in Iraq for Halliburton managers? What is the purpose?
Cost Plus encourages you to run up the cost of a program because you are going to get a percentage of the end result.
Halliburton stock has quadrupled in value since the war began, and taxpayers are being ripped off.
In order to truly inflate the costs, however, sleeping in luxury hotels is not enough. You have to waste, destroy, throw away everything possible to then reorder everything anew.
They got the wrong equipment, ordered the wrong stuff, computers still in boxes, new vehicles. They'd push them out in what they called burn pits. And they just set it on fire, claim it as a loss, get more money for the right equipment or the right stuff they needed.
You got brand new trucks over there, and there's not even oil filters. So when the motor blows, what do? Buy a new truck and build the government.
$75,000 truck. They wouldn't even have a spare tire to fit it. And we had to blow it up. And they didn't care Halliburton did because the government's paying for it.
We knew that every day that a vehicle broke down, we would have to destroy it. And these are maybe $80,000 vehicles, maybe $100,000. You know, they're expensive trucks. We're burning fuel in front of Iraqi people. We're not really doing anything to help, and we just have to follow the orders.
As a truck driver in the mail department, they'd send me to these camps with one bag of mail. That's risking my life just to deliver one bag of mail.
Halliburton's charging the government for every camp they go by. And your buddy's getting killed for no cause at all. Not even as much as a Band-Aid on the truck. That's how Halliburton was making the killing and making their money.
Halliburton was hired to provide clean, safe cooking, cleaning, shower water for the military. One of Halliburton's employees saw something wiggling in the water in his toilet bowl. So I went and tested the water in our water storage tanks. There was no chlorine in them, none. The water we showered in every single day was extremely contaminated. And when I talk about contaminated water, I'm saying malaria, typhus, giardia, cryptosporidium. I mean, the list is really, really long. They were only concerned with making a profit and didn't care how it may affect the troops. Of the 67 water treatment plants that Halliburton run, 63 of them weren't providing safe water. And the Marines are showering in it every single day.
In the meantime, the Pentagon had registered the disappearance of over $2 trillion in one fiscal year alone.
When DOD's own auditors say the department cannot account for $2.3 trillion in transactions in 1 year alone.
It is,
it's a terrible record, and it's preposterous that the Defense Department doesn't know what's happened to this money.
Are you aware of the fact that the Vice President of the United States had more than that on option, over 400,000 shares on option?
I was not, Senator.
Yeah, he was. Do you know what the final exercise date is on those options?
I don't.
I do. It's 2009, after his full service to the United States government, all the way through there. Mr. Thompson, given your work and research, do you think that companies will stop doing business with terrorist nations on their own, or is legislation needed?
Unfortunately, it's become clear over a period of years that while things may be legal, it doesn't mean that they are ethical. And I believe that unless you close the loophole, companies will continue to attempt to do business in backdoor fashions.
Thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Senator Brown.
Yeah. Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. Yep.
One of my great fears is I have not prepared you to be hated by this world for the name of Jesus Christ. No matter what you're experiencing, nothing compared to what our brothers and sisters in places like Nigeria are experiencing right now. Nothing. Right before Jesus returns, it says there will be a rise in Christian persecution. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and they will kill you. And you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Matthew 24:9. Listen, man, did you know this? But we have been largely protected from this by the blessing and mercy that we have in the United States for the last century. In the last 100 years, more Christians have been killed for their faith in the last 100 years than in every previous century combined. Right now in Nigeria, 72,000 Nigerian brothers and sisters slaughtered for their faith in Jesus Christ. You're watching videos of these people, their churches burned to the ground. They show up the next day in the rubble offering hymns to God because they want to worship their king. Listen, bro, I love you. You didn't come last week because it was foggy. Man, it's like how much does this matter to you? And this is not a game. Do we understand this? This is not some game. What they're saying about Nigeria is like, oh, it's just political infighting. No. Listen, and nobody wants to say what it is because it's a little taboo. It's not political infighting. It's radical violent Islam. That's what it is. It's radical violent Islam is what it is. And nobody wants to say it because it's like, oh man, if you say that, like you're not supposed to come at the Prophet Muhammad. Let me just say this. When Jesus returns, Muhammad will bend his knee to King Jesus. In front of the entire world, he will bend his knee to King Jesus.
Just saying. Just saying. Yep. All right. So Secretary Brooke Rowland says, I just got off the phone with the Kings from Washington State, what they have been subjected to by out of control ecology, Washington and Washington DNR is no less than egregious. Ranchers have a right to maintain stock water farm ponds and should not be faced with closed-door criminal action and over $250,000 worth of fines just so their cattle can drink. The radical weaponization of laws against farmers and ranchers must end. We are looking into this, so that's going to be a thing. That's going to be a thing. All right, then. And then federal agents say they have dismantled a major drug and gun trafficking network operating across Western Washington.
Federal agents say that they have dismantled a major drug and gun trafficking network operating across Western Washington. Agents seize fentanyl pills by the tens of thousands and guns by the dozens.
The U.S. Attorney's Office in Seattle is making details of this secret year-long operation public. And Chris Ingalls is in our newsroom tonight with more. Chris.
Craig and Joyce, in a press release late this afternoon, the Justice Department says agents arrested 10 people. They're accused of trafficking fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine, and heroin in Western Washington. And take a look at what else the feds say they were peddling. Lots of firearms. DEA and Seattle police seized more than 30 guns, some of them high-powered assault-style weapons, during the execution of 12 search warrants yesterday and today. They arrested the 10 suspects from as far north as Marysville down to Centralia in Lewis County. Authorities say one stash house in Centralia, they found 25 kilos of fentanyl powder inside and more than 90,000 fentanyl pills, a big number. They say all of this is linked to a suspect named Jose Sandoval Zuniga, who lists a Sammamish address. They say Zuniga was arrested in his vehicle with 1.5 kilos more of suspected fentanyl, and they found more drugs and a gun at his home. The press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Seattle says this operation was part of an operation to eliminate a cartel as part of Operation Take Back America, a DOJ program to, quote, repel the invasion of illegal immigration. However, the release does not specifically identify any of the suspects as undocumented. The 10 suspects made their first appearances in court yesterday and today. I'm Chris Ingalls in the King 5 newsroom.
Yeah. So, interesting that is going. All right, Susan Kokinda. Here we go. I remembered her name. Look at that. Yeah, Promethean action. Here we go.
Yesterday was a complete wipeout for Republicans. Virginia's governorship flipped to Democrats. New Jersey stayed blue in a landslide. There were down ballot losses in Pennsylvania and Georgia, and let's not even talk about New York City. And I warned that this would happen. Since the day after Trump's 2024 victory, I've been saying that the only way Republicans will win in off-year elections is if Trump's economic policies are at the top of the ticket. That's why I ran for and won a leadership position in the Michigan Republican Party. But that didn't happen yesterday. Republicans campaigned on crime and anti-woke policies, while voters told pollsters that their number one concern was the economy, jobs, and the cost of living. They should have been doing what Trump said just a few minutes ago, speaking to Republican senators in the Oval Office.
We're creating jobs at levels that nobody's ever seen before. All these things are good. We have to be able to get the word out. If we don't get the word out, we're making a very big mistake.
But instead of getting the word out, as Trump said, and trumpeting it out to blue-collar workers and young people, that Trump is leading an economic revolution on the scale of the American Revolution, the MAGA base was primarily fixated on how batshit crazy the Democrats are. Not that they aren't. This is Susan Kokinda, and I've been battling the policies of the British imperial elite for years. I've been fighting to revive the American system policies of Hamilton, Lincoln, McKinley, which is exactly what Donald Trump is doing. In my position as coalition's vice chair of the Michigan Republican Party, I've been hammering away at the point that the Republican Party must embrace Donald Trump's new Republican Party of workers and producers. So if you're tired of the other channels and the pundits who told you that everything was going to be fine, I want you to help us get this message out far and wide by hitting the like and share buttons. So today I'm going to show you why yesterday's Republican losses prove my warning. When you don't put Trump's economic policies at the top of the ticket, you lose. Number two, what Trump's actual revolution looks like, that it's a war for economic independence that Republicans fail to campaign on. And three, how the modern-day British Empire is trying to stop the reemergence of Trump's American system. Trump won in 2024 because he swung over blue-collar workers and young people of all races to his commitment to make the United States a manufacturing superpower, to recreate the working and middle class, where one income could raise a family. And he's doing it. But are Republican candidates talking about it? No. But that's what voters wanted, as many, many headlines said. Exit polls yesterday in New Jersey and New York showed 60% of voters think the economy's in bad shape. And there's no doubt that families are still hurting over the legacy of 40 plus years of globalization, free trade, and other imperial policies. But those are the policies that Trump is reversing. But not enough Americans understand that because not enough Republicans are talking about it. Here's what they should be talking about. Look at Trump's just concluded Asian deals on shipbuilding, defense, and energy. There will be tremendous impacts on manufacturing and commerce for states like, for example, New Jersey and Virginia, which have major port cities. Virginia and New Jersey Republicans didn't campaign on the $5 billion Hyundai shipbuilding investment in American ports that will create good-paying union jobs. Or take this example from a recent White House fact sheet that says that the LS Group pledged to invest $3 billion by 2030 in U.S. power grid infrastructure, undersea cables, power equipment, winding wires, and that their U.S. subsidiary is building a $681 million manufacturing facility in Virginia. Did Republicans campaign on those things? No. Republicans campaigned on immigration and crime and wokeness. Important issues? Sure. But when voters' number one concern is putting food on the table and paying rent, you better have an economic message. Democrats did. They messaged relentlessly on economic hardship, and they blamed the Republicans. Now, here's what people should have been paying attention to. What Donald Trump said during his extended CBS interview on Sunday night, 2 days before this electoral disaster.
If I didn't have the power of tariff, we would be like a subject nation. We'd be subject to everyone else. Everybody uses tariffs on us. If I wasn't allowed to use tariffs on them, we would be a third world nation.
Pay very close to Trump's words. We would be like a subject nation. Well, we have been a subject nation, subject to a modern-day British imperial system, which has hollowed out our economy and turned us into a bunch of Uber drivers and coders. And Trump is changing that. That's the economic revolution Trump is creating. And Republicans just lost because either they don't understand what Trump is doing, or in too many cases, oppose it. Now, what does it mean to be a subject nation in the 21st century? It means you're at the mercy of other countries or supranational institutions for your critical supply chains. It means foreign powers control your energy supply, your manufacturing base, your economic future. It means independent central banks and global financiers control capital flows. You are not politically sovereign if you're economically dependent. This is the British imperial model that's dominated the world for centuries. They don't need colonies anymore when they can control you through finance and trade. And Trump is systematically breaking those chains. Start with rare earth minerals. We've been a subject nation in this critical sector, but Trump is changing that. His Asia trip and the previous Australia agreement consolidated rare earth deals with numerous countries and negotiated a one-year agreement with China where they will not impose an embargo. That gives Trump and other countries the head start on setting up alternate lines of production, as he said on CBS.
You talked about those rare earth minerals. Of course, my understanding is about 90% of them come from China. That's their...
Right now,
yeah.
but within a short period of time, we'll have everything we need for ourselves. You know, we've instituted an emergency program, and we will have, within a year from now to a year and a half, we'll have everything we need, no matter what kind of a threat is made.
How? How do we do that?
Because we've taken over. First of all, you saw the partnerships we've established with Japan, with Australia, with UK, with just about everybody, frankly, and we're all doing it together. You know, this wasn't a threat against the United States. This was really a threat against the world. So the whole world has come together, I think, at our behest. And rare earths, within 2 years, rare earths will really cease to be a problem.
This is just one very big example of how Trump is freeing the United States, and for that matter, the world, from an imperial-type system where globalist rules, in this case free trade, strip away a nation's economic independence. But there's another aspect which is flying below most people's radar screens, and where it gets really revolutionary. And this is where the global financier elite are absolutely terrified. Donald Trump is setting up channels of investment outside the control of the Federal Reserve and the other lords of money centered in the city of London. The way he's negotiating these international deals, he's creating long-term lines of credit from countries like Japan and South Korea, who will fund major industrial development over the next decade. So people who want to build and build big won't be at the mercy of the Wall Street model with its quarterly profit obsession or the annual appropriation whims of a dysfunctional Congress. We haven't seen that kind of financing since the World War II mobilization. Look at what South Korea just committed, $20 billion per year over the next 10 years in American investment in nuclear power, shipbuilding, and other manufacturing areas. They're investing $5 billion in the Philadelphia shipyard, which is right next door to New Jersey, where probably a lot of New Jersey voters could get a job. Hyundai and Cerberus are investing another $5 billion in additional shipbuilding capacity, which will impact both New Jersey and Virginia. Memo to Republicans. Remember this. Here's where it gets even more interesting. J.P. Morgan Chase wants to get in on the bandwagon. In October, they announced a 10-year, $1.5 trillion investment initiative in U.S. supply chains, critical minerals, grid resilience, advanced manufacturing, and aerospace. Compare that to the previous 10 years where they invested about 1/3 of that, and most of it in sustainability, namely green crap. Even this bastion of Wall Street and British imperial financing methods has figured out that Trump is indeed reshaping the world and the U.S. This is what makes the British establishment panic. Trump is creating an American system of credit for productive development. Exactly what Hamilton designed, what Lincoln used to build the Transcontinental Railroad, what Roosevelt deployed to win World War II. And it's what the British Empire has tried to destroy for 250 years. Because when nations control their own credit for productive purposes, they're no longer subject nations. Promethean Action has been in the forefront of reintroducing these American system ideas into the political and economic dialogue in the United States. And if you want to prevent what happened yesterday from happening again in 2026, you should subscribe to our newsletter and get active with us. But this isn't just about economics. This is about sovereignty. When you control your supply chains, when you produce your own energy, when you control your credit, you're not a subject anymore. You're sovereign. And here's what makes this truly revolutionary. Every one of these projects requires skilled workers, not college graduates with useless degrees and crushing debt, not marijuana chefs or Starbucks baristas, but skilled tradespeople who can weld, who can operate advanced machinery, who can build nuclear reactors and LNG carriers. Trump recently signed an executive order to foster the creation of 1 million skilled trade jobs in the United States. When he was in the Oval Office earlier this year for the U.S. Steel deal, he said he would like to divert money from British outposts like Harvard.
I'd like to see the money go to trade schools, where people learn how to fix motors and engines, where people learn how to build rocket ships.
Yet, even with these unprecedented amounts of industrial financing on its way to the United States and the promise of millions of good-paying jobs, here's how the British press covered it. Here's how the British press covers the situation in the United States. Because they want you, and especially young men, to stay pessimistic. Why? Because that's how they control populations. Some months ago, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made a very insightful comment in an interview.
The Democrats had this strategy called compensate the loser. So first of all, the name of that strategy, I don't think the bottom 50% of Americans are losers. I think the system hasn't worked for them. I think that they are winners. It's just a bad system.
Remember that phrase, compensate the losers. That's how the empire wants to control. On the Democratic side, they'll provide you with the minimum to stay alive, SNAP benefits and Obamacare. On the other side, if you're an angry young white conservative man, then you're told you've been victimized by the globalist system, which is run by the Jews, and that's who you should be angry at. But this is all a lie. The enemy is the modern day British Empire, which Trump is committed to bringing down. And his economic revolution offers young people exactly what their grandfathers had, the ability to graduate from a trade school debt-free and immediately start working on a $5 billion shipbuilding project starting at $80,000 a year with full benefits. So when Trump says we'd be a subject nation without the power of tariffs, he's describing economic revolution that Republicans just failed to campaign on. We're talking about $17 to $20 trillion coming into the United States, outside of the control of the Federal Reserve and the City of London, and with it, millions of skilled trade jobs, rebuilding American sovereignty from the ground up. That's what's going to win elections. I warned people. Put Trump's economic policies at the top of the ticket or lose. They didn't listen, and yesterday they lost. Here's what needs to happen before 2026. Every Republican candidate needs to campaign on Trump's economic revolution. Not immigration alone, not wokeness alone, not crime alone. Economics first. Supply chain independence, skilled trade jobs, breaking free from being a subject nation, challenging British financial control. Because if they don't, yesterday's wipeout will look like a preview of 2026, and we all know the consequences, and Trump said it this morning in his breakfast with Republican senators. So share this video with every Republican candidate and party official and activist that you know. Show them what they should have been campaigning on. Show them why they lost. And if you want to help us spread this message and be part of finishing the American Revolution, join us at Promethean Action. Paying memberships and contributions will give us the resources we need to build the movement that understands what Trump is actually doing and how to make it permanent. This has been your midweek update. Thanks for watching.
Please take a moment and subscribe to our free newsletter at PrometheanAction.com.
All right. That was Susan Kokinda. Yeah, that's who that was. You with me?
Yeah, man.
All right. So I'm going to turn it over to you for a short period of time here. You have control, and I will be back with you after I go and check on the dogs and see what's going on out there. The dogs have figured out how to rip the panels out of the kennels, the kennel walls. Yeah, it's I see a big piece of the mesh walls completely tore out. Yeah, I'll be back.
All right, man. All right. So, what I was going to go into earlier, and I don't know if Hawk covered that. I apologize. I had the water softener guy here because I need to get a whole house filter. And sometimes it's cheaper to actually to rent a system versus actually just get a filter. So that's what I'm doing. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this real quick, which is huge, especially if you live in Indiana, like I do. Breaking from AG Todd Rokita. Our office is suing Indianapolis Public Schools for thwarting federal immigration enforcement. IPS currently maintains policies that frustrate ICE's ability to do its job by severely limiting ICE's access to school grounds and prohibiting IPS employees from assisting or sharing information with ICE. Sanctuary policies are bad in any context, but they are especially troubling in our schools. Schools across the country are vulnerable to infiltration by criminal illegal aliens. It happened in many other states, and it is essential that ICE be able to take action when that occurs to keep our kids safe. That's why my office, with the assistance of AFPI, is suing IPS to enforce compliance with state law and protect Hoosier school children. So, and AFPI is America First Policy Institute, if you didn't know. But I will go ahead and let this video play here.
Hello, Hoosiers. Attorney General Todd Rokita here, and I'm honored to be joined by Chad Wolf, the former Acting Secretary of Homeland Security and current Executive Director of the America First Policy Institute. We're announcing a new enforcement action my office is taking to eliminate local government policies in Indiana that give sanctuary to illegal aliens. I am bringing a lawsuit against the Indianapolis Public Schools over their policies that hamstring ICE's ability to keep our schools safe from criminal illegal aliens. And I'm pleased that the America First Policy Institute will be serving as special counsel in this case.
Well, that's right. AFPI is supporting your office, Attorney General, to help protect Hoosier communities. Sanctuary policies in schools put Indiana children and neighborhoods at risk. And we're here to tell you what we're doing about it and why it matters to every Hoosier.
You know, Indiana's anti-sanctuary law prohibits local government entities from restricting their cooperation with federal immigration authorities like ICE and from interfering with federal immigration enforcement. IPS currently maintains policies, unfortunately, that frustrate ICE's ability to do its job. It severely limits ICE's ability to access school grounds when necessary and prohibits IPS employees from assisting or sharing information with ICE. Now, those kinds of sanctuary policies are bad in any context, and they are especially troubling if they're in schools. Schools across the country have sometimes been infiltrated by criminal illegal aliens, and it is essential that ICE be able to take action when that occurs to help keep our kids safe. Now, that's why my office, with the assistance of AFPI, is filing a lawsuit against IPS to force them to comply so that they put Hoosiers first.
Schools are sacred places where our children should be safe and not places where illegal aliens should be shielded. We've seen it elsewhere, right? MS-13 gang members sitting in high school classrooms, or in Iowa, where we had a school superintendent who was an illegal alien and wanted for federal weapons charges. It's happening across the country, and it's something that we don't want to allow to happen right here in Indiana.
So the risks posed by sanctuary policies in Indiana schools are not hypothetical. Just this January, IPS interfered with ICE's efforts to deport a student whose father had already voluntarily agreed to leave the country. That is exactly the kind of interference with federal immigration enforcement that Indiana's anti-sanctuary law is meant to stop. The anti-sanctuary law gives my office the authority to sue any local entity that obstructs ICE, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're fighting to make sure our schools are places of learning, not lawlessness.
And so the America First Policy Institute backs Indiana's stand because we believe in protecting communities. We believe in starting with our kids. When schools like IPS defy the law, they're not just ignoring ICE, they're inviting risk that hurt families, from increased crime to broken trust. So we're proud to support Attorney General Rokita in this lawsuit to hold IPS accountable and to keep our schools safe.
You know, we warned IPS to stop these sanctuary policies or face the consequences in court. They didn't listen. But we're proud to have AFPI as our partner in this effort. Their legal expertise and commitment to American sovereignty will help my office keep Hoosiers safe. Thank you.
So I just seen that somebody posted in there that
hello, Hoosiers. Because they were cheaper than our
here we go.
medication. With the reduction of the price, hopefully many of these patients don't need to choose their safety over their wallet. And now
go back to the beginning here, if it'll let me here.
That are really a breakthrough. Obesity appropriate.
Secretary Kennedy, Administrator Oz, FDA Commissioner, Dr. McCurry, and the whole team.
Sorry, I'm trying to get it to where
So
it
to make
left
our
off before.
country strong for generations to come. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, and I'll introduce Mike, my colleague.
Thank you so much.
Before we, is Tom Emmer, we have one of our great leaders here. Is he in the room? Yeah. Where is he? Oh, hello, Tom. I was going to invite you up. How about Mrs. Emmer joining us, okay? The real boss.
Come on
the
up.
real boss is here. Come on up. Come on up. She's the real boss, right? She is. Okay, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President, Secretary Kennedy, Administrator Oz, FDA Commissioner, Dr. McCurry, and the whole team. I'd like to especially thank Chris Klump and Imna Hernandez for your hard work. I also like to thank my own team, Dave Moore and Karsten Knudsen, for their tenacity in getting us here today. It's an honor also to be with you, Dave. Dave and I compete on a daily basis, quite hard, I would say. But because of you and because of this process and the administration, we are standing here hand in hand as friends to have a common cause. And the cause is to really provide access to many millions of patients that yesterday did not have it. So I'm very happy to be here on this today, on today's pivotal moment. At Novo Nordisk, we believe that access to life-changing medicine should not be a privilege. It is a societal promise. And that promise today is becoming one step closer to a hope, to a reality, and we are very, very happy about it in our company. We are here because semaglutide is a unique molecule. Ozempic and Wegovy are unique medicines. I cannot remember any other time during at least my lifetime that another medicine has gotten as much attention and as much honor in the world scientific circle and has become a household name. It is very, very important that we're making this deal today. We're able to stand here with you, President, and your team to ensure broad, affordable access for all American patients, and that is truly exciting. It means not only providing hope, but also providing unique medicines to help Americans live healthier lives and longer lives. Novo Nordisk is proud to be an American success story. As a leader, in manufacturing, research, and creating a lot of jobs. Currently, we have already invested $24 billion over the last 10 years here, and these investments have created more than 10,000 jobs. And they have generated $21 billion of GDP just in 2024 alone. And today, as I'm standing here talking, cranes are up, as you would like to say, in North Carolina because we're just expanding our North Carolina manufacturing site once again with $4 billion additional US dollars. In some strange way, you could say, even though we have a Danish heritage, we have been more American and been here for a long time and proud American than many other companies that were born here. And we are very proud of that. In fact, we are proud to say that our approval of Wegovy pill will be the only GLP-1 that will be manufactured end-to-end here in America by Americans and for Americans. This agreement reflects a shared belief that the administration has provided a safe and effective, innovative medicines accessible to many patients. And because we know different patients have different needs, we are very excited to have our semaglutide 7.2 milligram, the higher dose, now, as we call it, Wegovy Plus, available as part of the receiving priority voucher. We stand here to ensure that all Americans who need Ozempic or Wegovy can access the affordable medication, so they don't need to go and get an unapproved compounded knockoffs version of it. Once again, I'd like to extend my deepest gratitude to you, Mr. President, and to the whole administration for making America great again and allowing affordable access to many millions of patients living with diabetes and obesity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Just say a couple of words, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an amazing day because people talk about different ways to finance the broken healthcare system. This is fixing the broken healthcare system by dealing with two root causes: the price of goods and services, something hardly anyone talks about, and the health of the population. So today the FDA is announcing, as part of its new National Priority Voucher Program, that both Lilly and Novo Nordisk will be receiving a voucher for a priority review because they're doing something in this administration's national priority interest, lowering the price of drugs to make them affordable, in line with the president's mission, and domestic manufacturing and addressing a public health need. These are two of 6 products that we are announcing today. Treatments for cancer that are unbelievable. They are incredibly promising. A rectal cancer treatment that has melted away tumors with no need for surgery or chemo or radiation. We're interested in therapies that reduce downstream healthcare utilization. They'll be getting a voucher for a review by the FDA in weeks instead of a year. So we're serious. We're doing everything we can to incentivize this. So I think this is not appreciated enough because the fastest area of healthcare spending growth is drug price spending growth. And so we're seeing a lowering healthcare drug prices as a vehicle to make insurance more affordable, private insurance, Medicaid more affordable, Medicare more affordable, and healthcare in general more affordable. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Marty, very much. Any questions?
Mr. President. Mr. President. You said you were able to get this deal done and so many others because of tariffs. Yesterday at the Supreme Court, the case being heard, the justices expressed some skepticism. What is your plan if they end up making a decision that's not in your favor?
Well, I'd rather discuss that later. I hope we're going to win that case. I think it's one of the most important cases in the history of our country. So much evolves around tariffs as a defensive mechanism for our country. That's national security for our country. So I don't want to really discuss ground two. This is so important. If you look at China, and I covered this yesterday, but if you look at China, by putting a large 100% tariff over and above the tariffs they already paid, they came to the table, they talked, we made a wonderful deal for everybody. Our farmers, as you know, with the soybeans at levels that nobody's ever seen before, we were able to make phenomenal deals. If we didn't have the tariffs, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So we thought we did very well yesterday. We hope that we did. I think it would be devastating for our country, but I also think that we'll have to develop a Game 2 plan. We'll see what happens. Most people tell me we did very well legally.
Mr. President, related to that, are you moving forward with any new tariff announcements before a decision from the Supreme Court?
This is the best one, and we can do other things, but they're slow by comparison. It's like as an example, with the 100%, I was able to do it instantaneously when we were threatened by the rare earths, as you know, the magnets. And I did it instantaneously. It was a matter of seconds. And it was a matter of seconds that I got a phone call, let's work this out. We would have had not nearly the defense that we had. It would be a shame. It would be somewhat catastrophic for our country, I have to be honest with you. I don't want to get too much involved, but what we've done, we're taking in hundreds of trillions of dollars. If you take a look at the numbers we're at $17 trillion right now. We're going to be at $21 trillion, about $21 trillion by the time I finished my first year. Biden, as an example, the Biden administration was at less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We're going to be at $21 trillion for 1 year. In the history of the world, there's never been a country that's done that. Not China, not the U.S., not anybody. And a lot of that is because of the tariffs and the fact that the president is a competent president that knows how to use them. And I use them for national defense. Of the 8 wars I ended, I would say 5 or 6 were ended because of tariffs. I'll give you an example. If you take a look at India and Pakistan, they started to fight. They're 2 nuclear nations. They were shooting each other. 8 planes were shot down. It was 7, now it was 8, because the one that was sort of shot down is now abandoned. And 8 planes were shot down. And I said, listen, if you guys are going to fight, I'm going to put tariffs on you. And they both went, they were not happy about that. And within 24 hours, I settled the war. If I didn't have tariffs, I wouldn't have been able to settle that war. So it's great national defense, and you have to be quick moving. You can't wait around for months and months while you're doing studies and you're doing all of this, or go back to Congress. Look at Congress. We can't even get a continuation from Congress. Think of that. How do you have to go back to Congress you have to do this spur of the moment? Because just so you understand, we're here at spur of the moment. Other countries have used tariffs that absolutely, they would have destroyed us. If I didn't come along, our country would be destroyed right now. The tariffs have made us rich in terms of national security. They've made us secure. And if you have economic strength, that's also, if you have a lack of economic strength, that's national security also. But we have great national security because of those tariffs. So I think it would be devastating if we lost that ruling.
Issues of ruling. It could be several weeks. Are you going to lay out any new additional tariffs before that?
I'm going to hope that we win. I can't imagine that anybody would do that kind of devastation to our country. We'd have to pay back trillions of dollars. We've taken in trillions. We haven't taken in billions. We've taken in trillions of dollars. We've made trade deals based on that give us, as an example, European Union, $950 billion. Japan, $650 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. Without this, we're not talking about that kind of money. And they're okay, they're satisfied, they love us, they just left. They all love us. So it's not like we're such bad people. But they were doing it to us until I came along. Now they don't do it to us, we do it to them a little bit. But if they took this away, we would be defenseless against tariffs from other countries.
On employer plans and individual plans who also don't have access to GLP-1s, what can you do to make those insurers and PBMs get these same prices so they can put access for those folks?
I'll ask Oz or Bobby that question. It's a good question.
Absolutely. Many Americans receive their insurance through the commercial markets. The companies have committed to ensure that at worst, prices are at MFN on GLP-1s and are committed to continue to negotiate those prices down based on volume, just as they do in any other instance. Another really interesting thing we're seeing, though, is that commercial plans and PBMs increasingly are enabling access for their beneficiaries, their patients, to make purchases in the cash market and then still receive coverage under their accumulators and their deductibles. And so we're building that capacity in. Absolutely. Trump RX is being built to enable just that behavior and drive transparency in the process.
Mr. President, there are so many Americans that report tremendously positive results from these drugs. What real-world impact do you think this will be? Is there an estimate on how many Americans may now take these drugs? And also about the informed consent on side effects. There are lawsuits against these companies that some people experienced damage to their gut health, vision loss, and other potentially serious side effects there. So how will we ensure Americans are able to make the best choice of the risk versus the rewards?
Well, I'll let them speak about the side effects, but I've heard about very little side effects with respect to these drugs. I mean, it's all positive, and that's usually not the case. I mean, usually you hear bad things. You see these crazy commercials on television where they tell you 15 different things that can go wrong, and then you're supposed to buy it. Very few, but I'll let you handle that.
At a high level, 1 in 3 people who can hear my voice are eligible for these medications. That's the magnitude of impact. And we believe, just to reemphasize, we will actually save the American taxpayer money if people use these drugs appropriately for the duration for which they're indicated. There are always going to be side effects of anything strong enough to help you, strong enough to hurt you. The question is the trade-off worth it? We know the ravaging risks of obesity and all downstream issues ranging from diabetes and hypertension to renal failure, dementia, heart disease, my specialty. But I'll ask Dave Ricks from Lilly to maybe start off because he can give an honest appraisal of potential risks people should be aware of. There's no free cheese.
Oh, thank you. I mean, today, as you may know, there's about 8 million people benefiting from the two companies' medications. This new announcement will make that tens of millions that could benefit from it. So it's a huge improvement. But as the previous question, we need commercial plans and other insurers to step into this arrangement. I think probably both companies will work hard to make sure that happens. Yeah, as Dr. Oz said, no drug that can help you has no side effects. Most of them are well known. We've been using this class of medications for nearly 20 years. And that's why it's important that patients go to their doctor and decide together whether this is right for them, and their doctor knows their medical history and has the information about these medications. But we're confident in the safety, but there's always some precautions we should have, and people's own medical histories matter in that decision.
And are there any estimates for? Yes.
What I would like to say is also that, of course, in my speech I made a comment that what happened today allows us and Lilly to provide medications to millions and millions more than they are getting it today. Today, a lot of those patients are trying to go out there and take the knockoff versions of these medications, mainly because they were cheaper than our medication. With the reduction of the price, hopefully many of these patients don't need to choose their safety over their wallet and now are able to find the real thing at a very decent price.
Is that a big problem for you, knockoffs? Sounds like it might be.
It has been, yes. It has been. But on the other hand, of course, patients have to be able to afford it. So it has been also our job to make sure that affordability.
Are the knockoffs dangerous?
The knockoffs are not FDA, the API, the raw ingredient that goes into them, are not FDA approved. So nothing is as good as the original.
Yeah, I know that.
Yesterday in the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts said that tariffs are taxes and that they're paid by Americans. He said this pretty clearly. And yet you're saying that this money is rolling in from other countries. How do you square those two?
It is. It's coming in because they charged us. You know, the same countries that you talk about are charging us massive amounts of money. If you look at the tariffs over the years that were put on our heads, there's a reason we're $38 trillion owed. Now that money's going to start coming down. But we had presidents that didn't know how to use tariffs. We had presidents that had no understanding of business. But if you take a look at what's happened to us, every country charges tariffs. China, the European Union was brutal. They charged us tariffs, not only tariffs, they charged us tariffs so we couldn't sell cars there. We couldn't sell our product. They didn't want our agriculture. They didn't want our cars. Now they're taking our cars, and now they're taking our agriculture. You know, far more than money. It really is a defensive mechanism. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be unable to defend ourselves.
So then do you agree then that Americans are paying those tariffs?
I think, no, I don't agree. I think that they might be paying something, but when you take the overall impact, the Americans are gaining tremendously. They're gaining through national security. Look, I'm ending war because of these tariffs. Americans would have to fight in some of these wars. They're gaining in national security. They're gaining in economics. They're gaining in so many different ways. And they're gaining in self-respect for our own country. Other countries used to laugh at us. They would charge us tariffs. Japan was charging us massive tariffs, and yet they wouldn't allow our cars to be sold in Japan. But they were selling 9 million cars here, but they wouldn't allow one car. Not one car was sold in Japan. They don't laugh at us anymore. This is really a matter of, this is national security. And by the way, going bankrupt is national security. You know, our country was really in trouble. Going bankrupt, and the difference between going bankrupt and thriving, that's also national security. When you go bankrupt, when you don't have any money, you have no national security. And we are thriving. I mean, all this money coming into our country that I told you about, the 17 trillion as of now, but it's going up rapidly. I was in Japan, and we have Toyota is coming in with $10 billion to build plants, operated by Americans, but building plants all over the United States. Well, they left. They took our plants. They sold cars in here without tariffs. They sold cars. We didn't charge them anything. They destroyed our auto industry. We lost 50%, 54% of our auto industry to other. We used to, if you go back into the 30s and 40s, we had 100% of the automobile business. Then it started getting chopped away. But Mexico, Canada, many countries, I mean, Canada fought us very hard. The ones that don't want us to win are foreign countries that we are able now to do very well with. Those are the ones that fight it. Those are maybe people that hate our country. I think it's the most important case maybe in the history of our country.
This has been a major achievement for your administration, targeting the segment of our population that needs it the most, that has the highest obesity rates. You're making it affordable. You are truly saving lives. That's coming from the viewers that we've had in that 1 hour that we took a little bit of a break. My question to you is, Walmart just pushed out a report that says this year's traditional Thanksgiving meal will cost 25% less than it did under the Biden administration, plus gas prices being down in the $2 region makes it more affordable to travel to grandma's house this Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. And it's not so much a question, it's a statement. I would have made the statement, but we have a lot of things happening, so I wouldn't necessarily
Attorney General
have made it right now. So Walmart, to me, you know, that's AAA, came out that nobody going to influence them. I don't know them. But they just came out with a very powerful statement. They've done it for many years, that under the Biden administration, Thanksgiving meal, a Thanksgiving meal with all the trimmings costs 25% more. In other words, our Thanksgiving this year coming up will cost 25% less than Sleepy Joe Biden's. Now, to me, that's better than anything there is. That's better than a poll. They've got everything included, from the trimmings and from the turkey and from everything, a lot of different items. It's 25% less this year than it was last year when he was so-called in charge. He wasn't in charge. The people around the desk were in charge. The auto pen was in charge. That is a big factor. And I was angry last night with the Republicans. I said, you don't talk about this stuff. Nobody talks about it. You know, I rely on a question from a reporter to get that out. We should be talking about it because they talk about affordability. They don't have affordability. We had the highest inflation in the history of our country under Biden. We had high gasoline prices at $4.50, $5 a gallon. They're going to be hitting $2 a gallon with me. They're getting close to $2 a gallon. And when gasoline goes down and energy goes down, everything else follows. What the Democrats do is they lie. We are the ones that have done great on affordability. They've done horribly on affordability. The only thing is they go out and they take commercials how under the Democrats you have affordability. It's just the opposite. We have much lower prices than they do. And we only have one thing, beef, because the cattle ranchers are doing well. We're going to bring the beef prices down. And they understand that, even if we have to help them out. But the beef also is not a big difference, but every price is down. The biggest price is energy. We're at almost $2 for gasoline, and you take a look at where they were at $4.50, $5 for gasoline. And when gasoline and energy comes down, everything else follows. And I was so happy. Last night I made a speech, and then I get off the stage. I said, I feel like going up and saying it, because I have a lot of respect for Walmart. And nobody's influencing Walmart. They came out and they said, Trump's Thanksgiving dinner, same things, is 25% less than Biden's. And we are the affordability, when we are the ones that have done a great job in affordability, not the Democrats. And yet, we just lost a couple of elections that were very Democrat areas. Maybe won't be full. They weren't very Democrat when I ran a year ago, because I did well in those areas. But we just lost an election, they said, based on affordability. It's a con job by the Democrats. The Democrats are only good at con and cheating on elections. Thank you for the question.
Can I ask you a question about India?
Say it.
How is the talks with Prime Minister Modi
Great,
going on the
great.
trade deal? And when do
Going
you,
good. He stopped buying oil from Russia.
when do you plan
And
to
he's a
announce?
friend of mine, and we speak, and he wants me to go there, and we'll figure that out, I'll go. I had a great trip there with Prime Minister Modi, he's a great man, and I'll be going.
Novo Nordisk is in the middle. You're planning to go to India next year? You're planning to go to India next year, sir?
It could be, yeah.
Novo Nordisk is in the middle of a potential $10 billion acquisition for a smaller obesity biotech. They might need your and the FTC's help to see that through. Do you have any issues with that, or Eli Lilly buying a smaller obesity biotech from an anti-competitive
Well, I don't
standpoint?
know, do you want to talk about that? I mean, I'd like to hear it. Maybe you should give us a piece of the company like I've been asking for.
So
Give the United States a nice big chunk of the company.
So Novo Nordisk and Pfizer right now are in the middle of an acquisition dialogue and discussion.
It's you and Pfizer?
It's us and Pfizer.
Competing for the company?
Competing for the company.
Who's winning?
And as of today, our bid is higher. And our message to Pfizer is that if they would like to buy the company, then put your hand in the pocket and bid higher. It's a free market, and at the end of it, it has to do with basically the price that the seller is selling for their shareholders and the buyers willing to pay for it. This has nothing to do with FTC, has nothing to do with anything else.
Do you think it's
Is that a
anti-competitive?
similar product to what we're talking about today?
It's a product, it's a series of products that will come to the market in around turn of the decade, where the market is very crowded with many, many other players as well. So it's the next generations of products, and it will become five. Yeah.
Mr. President,
Thank you.
you're saying that
Zoran Mandami, you said that, you called him a communist. You said that if he won, you would take drastic action against New York City. What kind of actions are you looking at, and will the ICE deportations continue?
Well, I think you have to look. If he is a communist, there's not going to be a lot of activity. So you wouldn't need bridges and tunnels and all the different things that were being planned for New York, I think. And look, I hope New York does well. That's all I can say. I love New York. I grew up in New York. I did well in New York, always did well. And I hope New York does well. That's all.
And ICE raids, will they continue?
ICE raids? Well, you want to get criminals in. If they're criminals, we want to get them out. Ideally, we wouldn't have to do them because he'll send the criminals out himself. But that seems to be unlikely. No, we have to get criminals out. Millions of people were let into our country from prisons and from mental institutions and drug dealers, a lot of drug dealers and murderers, 11,888 murderers. 50% of them committed more than one murder. And we want to get them out. So whether they're in New York or anywhere else, we want to get them out. We've created a great place in Washington. All of you know, you see the difference between what it was now and what it was a year ago under Biden. It was a death trap, and now it's people walk down the street, they have dinner, the restaurants are booming. Washington, D.C. is great. I will tell you, Memphis is doing really well too. You're hearing those reports. It's companies were going to move out, they're not going to move out anymore. We've done a great job, and we've only been there for 4 weeks. So we've done a great job with that. But they have killers in New York, we want to get them out. If they have murderers, if they have people from jails that they allowed out of their jails in order to save a lot of money, we want them out of here. We want to put it back to their jails, not our jails.
Mr. President, a question in regards to TSA. Would you ever consider privatizing TSA? That question comes to us from our viewers all the time, and I told them I would ask you.
I think of privatizing a lot of things, but generally speaking, you have government, and a lot of people don't like privatizing, but some things that they really do, they work out better privatized. But it is government, and sometimes government can be better. It's something a lot of people talk about.
I've heard the government, as far as air traffic controllers, is 2 thumbs up on that. I've heard from dozens of pilots who have flown the last 90 days, particularly under all the stress of the government shutdown.
Right.
They tell me, Brian, that is the one thing the government does right is air traffic controls.
Well, we're going to do it a lot better too, because we're going to buy a new system. It's under bid right now. Bid about 4 different companies, all top of the line, like these 2 great companies, except, in a different, slightly different field. And the air traffic control equipment is 45 years old. Buttigieg spent billions of dollars trying to fix it and didn't even use the right wire. You're hooking up glass into copper, and you can't do that. If they went to a reasonably good school, they'd find out you can't hook glass into copper. And they spent billions of dollars, and it was actually made the system much worse. We're going to get rid of the entire system, put a brand new system in. It'll be expensive, but we'll have the best air control system, meaning the control towers. They'll be stripped down to the bone, and brand new equipment is being installed. And we'll give out that. It's a big contract. We'll give out that contract over the next 6 weeks.
It's not that we announced, sir, that the FAA is going to have to cut about 10% of flights at the top 40 airports because of the government shutdown. Are you at all concerned that it might not be safe to fly right now? And what do you tell people who are gearing up for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, fair question. Sean Duffy announced they're cutting in certain areas 10%, and they want to make sure it's 100% safe. That's why they're doing it.
Mr. President, given these modifications that are being made to air travel, the other disruptions with the government shutdown, do you think it's time for Republicans in Congress to change their negotiating position at all?
In what way?
To start making concessions to Democrats?
Well, I think it's time for them to end the filibuster and just put everybody back to work. Vote in voter ID, vote in no mail-in voting except for military, faraway military, and people that are very sick. I'd like to see one-day voting. I'd like to see not 65 days of voting from all over the place. No, I'd like to clean up the elections. The border, we've done a great job. We have a great, strong border now. But I'd like to see new rules on immigration that can be fair and good, But rules that you'll never get, rules that they're never going to get. There's so many things we could put in, including tax cuts that we could get, and we could do it all ourselves. But to do that, you have to end the filibuster. The filibuster is, and they'll do it too. They'll immediately do it. What they're going to do is, what the Democrats will do is they're going to make Puerto Rico a state. They're going to make D.C. a state. They're going to pack the court. They're going to end up with more electoral votes. They're going to end up with 4 senators because of the 2 states. And they're going to do this 100%. They would have done it, except Manchin and Sinema got in their way. They would have done it. So if they're going to do it, I would do it. I would do it before them.
And you think that the longer
like Israel. Israel attacked first. That attack was very, very powerful. I was very much in charge of that. When Israel attacked Iran first, that was a great day for Israel, because that attack did more damage than the rest of them put together. What I'd like to see is, I'd like to see voter ID. Who wouldn't approve voter ID? The Democrats. Why wouldn't they approve it? Because they cheat. There's only one reason not. We don't have voter identification, and we should have it. If we got rid of the filibuster, in one day you'd have voter identification. The only reason they don't want it is because they cheat.
Tax credits, there's some people, Republicans, who would also like to see the ACA tax credits extended for middle-class folks who are buying insurance under them. Where do you weigh in on that?
Well, I don't weigh in, but we're looking at all of that right now. We're looking at all of it. There are a lot of great ideas out there, including for healthcare, because Obamacare is a disaster. The Obamacare premium is going to go up 17 or 18%, and that's not my fault. I didn't want Obamacare. That's the fault of the people that put it in, the Democrats. And now they want it subsidized further. But you know, where you take it from them, you take it from a lot of other people. We could have much better health care at a much lower price.
So have you been doing all
Grocery
these drug
prices.
pricing announcements with another company, or is this the last we're going to see for
About
a little
what?
while? About drug pricing, you know, deals.
Oh,
that
no,
you're
everybody's
considering.
involved, and we're gonna get low pricing from, all companies are being involved. We are now going to have, with all drugs, the lowest price anywhere in the world. That's the price we're going to have.
And will you have
That's
another
called
announcement?
favored nations. We were stupid nations before. We paid 10 times more, sometimes 15 times more than they were paying in Europe and other places. So that was really stupid.
In 2 years,
Mr. President, you promised
these
to lower
will
grocery
go down,
prices.
the injectable prices will go down to $250, I believe, but your American patients might still look at European prices and say, these aren't quite low enough to match that. What would you say in response to
Well, no,
people?
we're not matching, because as far as I'm concerned, we're at favored nations. If Europe is paying less, then, now there could be other reasons. There could be a distribution, et cetera, et cetera. It's harder to get to, but outside of, you know, pretty minor things, this is favored nations. We are going to be paying the lowest price in the world, outside of some nations that are stone cold bankrupt, have no money, and people make contributions of medicines to those nations, including us. We're going to have the lowest prices anywhere in the world. And your drug prices will go down 600, 700, 800%. And I'll be given no credit for it, because I never get credit for anything. But nobody else could have done this.
So my comment is drug price go down 7%.
General Todd Rokita here, and I'm honored to be joined by Chad Wolf, the former Acting Secretary of
Oh, come
Homeland
on.
Security and current Executive Director of the America First Policy Institute. We're announcing a new enforcement action my office is taking to eliminate local government policies
There
in
we go.
Indiana that give sanctuary.
Okay, sorry about that. It wouldn't close. So anyway, Trump was just taking those questions. I thought we need to go back to it because of the incident a little bit ago. They didn't quite get that far, so
He
figured-
fainted.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he fainted. He locked his knees up. You know, he was trying to keep his balance back there. He was struggling for a bit before it happened. You know, you could tell that he was uncomfortable standing there for as long as he was. And the thing is when, you know, you think of it, it's, being in the military, you know, especially during boot camp, one of the first things that you're taught when you're standing at attention is don't lock your knees.
Oh yeah, it was a big one.
You do. Yeah, you know, it actually does something to the circulation and can cause you to pass out. So, and I think that he was straightening his legs because he was trying to stay up. He was like I said, he was struggling for a little while there, yeah, kind of saw that coming. You know, and that's why I backed it up. He showed it a second time. Was sorry. It didn't seem like he was having a stroke. There was no drooping in the face or anything like that around the eyes or the mouth. It didn't appear to be a heart attack because he wasn't clutching his chest. He was just going down like he was passing out.
Yeah, he was going down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. Well, you know, the White House doctor is going to see him. Next time we see him, he's going to be 30 years younger, a head full of hair, and yeah, all fixed up, right?
Yeah. So, Hawk, did you go into the Prop 50 thing? While I was out?
No, I didn't. Well, I didn't go into much of it. There were a couple of reports that I was sharing. I have a few. There's a few things in regards to Prop 50 that are in my feed. But go ahead.
Did you do the one for Breaking 911 or Lives at TikTok?
I don't remember. Let me scroll. I did the Promethean action. No, I haven't even gotten to them yet.
Okay.
Have not gotten to that list yet.
I just didn't want to do the same one if you already went over it. I hate being in an echo chamber. I just do. But so the Prop 50 thing, a California voter has accused Governor Gavin Newsom and Democrats of election misconduct, claiming a voting machine malfunctioned and only allowed a yes vote on the Prop 50 redistricting measure.
Yeah, that was a elderly person, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
And
I got a thing on that. Give me a second.
I have a video.
Yeah,
here.
I thought it was kind of interesting. Oh, do you? All right, go ahead, pull it up.
Come on, there we go.
I have one too. So yeah, that's the same one.
Here's this.
So I have a crazy story about voting in California. I voted by mail, so no biggie, but my mom went and voted in person. And the guy pulls up the, screen for her or whatever of what you're supposed to vote. And it's only coming up, yes. And my mom's like, this is not giving me a voting option. And he's like, yeah, you just press that button. And she's like, no, that's not what I want to vote. Like, it's not giving me another option. It's only saying yes. And he was like, well, that's just hit that button and that's your vote. She's like, no. They had to call somebody else over, and she was like, excuse me, I'm not getting an option on what to vote for. So the lady had to back out and re-go in and set her up where it'll say yes or no. But the guy was only setting her up for yes. Tell me how that's not fully rigged. Gavin Newsom be up to some shady stuff, because the guy literally only gave her the option to vote yes. My 78-year-old mom, thank goodness she's wise and savvy, and she was like, no, and no sir. But tell me they ain't rigging the election. Give me a break. So vote no, people. Vote no. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And it's funny that she says that, because I've been seeing different things, as I scroll through TikTok. There was one video I caught. It was Matthew Lillard. And if you don't know who that is, he played Shaggy in the live action Scooby-Doo. And he also played in Without a Paddle and quite a few other things. But he was saying, vote yes for Prop 50, vote yes for Prop 50. We have to get this done. We have to vote yes for Prop 50. And he wasn't the only actor to be saying that. There was a lot, because as a matter of fact, he even went as far as to say, this is how we survive. Okay. So I think it's interesting of how far they're willing to go here. So speaking of election crimes, this is put out by Fletch 17. Election crimes seem to be popping up a lot lately. So let's go ahead and play this real quick.
The mayor of Coldwater accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S. but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
In large part, our system right now is based on trust. Trust that when the person signed the registration or signs the poll books saying that he's a qualified elector or that he is a United States citizen, that the person is telling the truth.
We reached out to Mayor Ceballos for comment, but have not heard back yet. The Coldwater City Council, though, released a statement on social media saying the mayor called them in for a special meeting over the noon hour to, quote, discuss recent events that have transpired with the Kansas Attorney General's office. While the recent allegations involving the mayor are understandably concerning, we will allow the proper legal process to take its course before making any further comments, unquote. Ceballos is expected to be in court for his first appearance on December 3rd.
So that was a Kansas mayor.
The mayor of Coldwater.
That was the Kansas mayor, which is kind of troublesome. But so I seen that they filed, talk about the election stuff. They filed a lawsuit out in California about the Prop 50 and how it passed and all that. I'm looking for a lawsuit to be coming out of New York here pretty soon about the mayor election, the mayoral election, because of the fusion ballots and how you could vote twice for a candidate. So I'm looking for a thing there too. And I'm looking at one to come out of Pennsylvania because they were running out of ballots at the precincts for the justice retainers, whether or not they wanted to retain the Supreme Court justices there in Pennsylvania. So, and then I'm looking for one out of New Jersey to be coming up pretty soon too, because of the bomb threats that were done at the precincts, and also I think it was the Hawk, was it the tabulators that wasn't working at the Republican precincts?
It was the independent voters were not allowed to vote. They were giving some of them were given provisional ballots, but most of them were turned away, not even able to vote at all. And that was all independent voters. The Republicans dealt with shutdowns of machines, not having enough ballots, not having enough provisional ballots, and bomb threats. So this was a pretty wide scoped thing, and I paused your share because it's, for some reason, whenever your share thing is up, we get some kind of a echo going on.
Oh, I apologize.
That's why I muted myself. But the idea of it is, we saw what happened in 2024 in the election, and the fact that it was too big to rig. This time, people weren't paying attention to it, because, well, MAGA won, so we're good. No, just because you win something doesn't mean that you don't protect it. And the fact that the government shut down and everything else, and voter ID and everything else has not been instituted until that executive order, is put out and becomes codified. We're going to have a bunch of shady shit going on. But I believe that at the same time, this had to happen in Mamdani, Mamdani, whatever the hell his name is.
Mamdani, Salami, whatever.
There's a lot surrounding him as well. And Andy Ogles and others are pushing for his citizenship to be revoked, and for him to be deported. No different than Ilhan Omar. And there was another one as well. I think I don't know if it was Tlaib or not. But the fact of the matter is, you notice we haven't been hearing anything from them lately. We haven't been hearing anything from, really from any of them, because they're all on the Congress side. And so I was saying earlier was the fact that you notice that, these guys are all on vacation, and about the only people that we've heard from are Pelosi, and AOC, and that's pretty much through interviews and not coming out making public statements. And most of the public statements that are being done are more localized, and just, talking smack about Trump and blaming Trump for the shutdown and everything else. First things first, Congress has already done their job. They passed a clean CR. So, it boils down to the Senate. Now, Trump has told them guys to get rid of the filibuster. Do it now, because that they're going to do it as soon as they get into office, and then there's not going to be any chance of anything getting done. And it's a tit for tat thing going on right now between the two of them. But I do know this, is that if the Republicans don't step up and do the fucking right thing, that we are going to, we're going to come to a point where the American people are just going to be done with government, period. Because you're all fucking corrupt. All of you, every one of you. The few good ones, we might keep around to advise us, but the rest of you gotta fucking go. Enough of this shit. I'm tired of things being affected to the point where we have to watch daily to see what you fuck up next.
Oh, you ain't kidding. And like I was saying earlier before I had to go, I honestly think the government needs to stay shut down until they can investigate everything. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Because
Well, this is the thing though, with the, is that with the shutdown and not reopening the government, we're what, day 36 or day 37 right now?
36.
Okay. It takes 41 days for those who were furloughed to become unemployed. Takes 41 days.
Yep.
Okay. So in all actuality, okay, if they go running in now saying, okay, well, we got our select people in our certain cities and everything elected now let's reopen the government, okay, then we don't have a chance in eliminating more of the bureaucrat side of Washington, D.C. instead of, you could be right, Jersey Joe. It could be 61 days. I thought it was 41. Because 30, I believe 34 or 33 or 34 was the longest number that they went previously. It could be, it quite possibly could be 61. But with the government staying shut down, again, I'm going to say this, the airports are shutting down. Okay. Regular TSA people are not there. Air traffic controllers are not there. How do you prevent cross-border runs? Shut down the modes of transportation.
Yeah, well, and I think we're seeing some of the results of these layoffs right now from the airfields. With the UPS crash, what was it, yesterday, the day before?
Yeah, that was, the UPS crash. Now, I actually have something on that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And this is, and you'll connect the dots with this as well. Let's see. Give me a second. I want to make sure I find it. But yeah, it just seemed kind of perfect timing for you to bring that up.
Yeah. I have a bad habit of that.
Let's see.
But I mean, and one thing that I've seen in hockey, your video may touch on this. It was 2,976 casualties for 9/11, right? And there was something involving that number. I want to say it was 2,976 days or something like that to this crash.
Okay, so oh dang nabbit, where
I can't remember the significance.
I found out about Dick Cheney dying from Mr. Sciatica 11.3. Dick Cheney died on November 3rd at the age of 84. This is confirmed by multiple sources, including his family's statement reported by CNN, the Washington Post, The Guardian, and NPR, as well as an updated Wikipedia entry. The news broke on November 4th, 2025, the day after his passing. Now, there's a couple of things that line up here, okay? And I've got a video that somebody did that it was too well put together for me to ignore it. And I want to find it here really quick and play this because somebody connected a whole bunch of dots that needed to be connected in order to see the big picture of this. And I think that, let's see, it's got to be up here. But go ahead, go with your thoughts for a minute, and while I find this.
So, and while Hawk's pulling that up here, a couple of senators introduced a bill today about the shutdown, and it was about Congress not getting paid during the shutdown, and it got blocked by the Democrats. Imagine that. Let me see if I can find it here. But yeah, it's really interesting, the things that are going on. And also what I was talking about with them investigating everything before they open up, the government. Dr. Oz, the administrator for Centers for Disease or for Medicare and Medicaid services, announced they have evidence that 6 Democrat states have been stealing federal tax dollars for healthcare for illegals. Over $1 billion stolen in just the last few months. We decided to investigate it for ourselves because I don't really trust these 6 states. We found that already $1.3 billion has been inappropriately taken from federal taxpayers in just a few months. We just clawed back $300 million, which signals that the 6 states, they already know, they acknowledge that this is an embarrassing reality. So, I mean, really interesting stuff. And, that comes up after I had put up a post a couple days ago about keeping the government shut down. So it's getting interesting. Find it here.
I'm a little irritated with myself because I don't think I shared that dang link with myself. I'm like kicking myself right now, thinking that I quite possibly might have missed that. I'll be damned. Yeah, there were some serious connections made too.
If it's the video I'm thinking about, I'm looking for the same one.
Yeah. It was a perfect breakdown. Um, you know, and it connected a whole lot of dots. I cannot believe that. I mean, I can believe, but at the same time, I can't believe. um, Dang nabbit. Um, two. Those are all ones that I need to play yet. Maybe it's on a different. Let me see. Yeah, because I mean, it was clear. You know, and it connected the shutdown, the airports, uh, everything all the way down the line. Um, and it's like, yeah, it was, and it was
I
all
don't know what video you're talking about, because I seen the same one, and I liked it, and I thought I shared it.
It's like somebody doesn't want us to.
It.
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot of that in my feed. Like something will be on my screen when I walk away from the computer, and when I come back, it's gone. Can't find it anywhere in my feed whatsoever. And I've been seeing that more and more and more. And I think that has something to do um, with the censorship that we're seeing going on and the shadow banning that we're seeing going on X. And the thing is if people are saying that there is, you know, none of that's happening, they're full of shit.
Yeah, and that's why I quit paying for X, because of it. I'm not going to pay to be silenced. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah. Okay, I think I might be getting close to it because I'm seeing some of the things that I actually have in my list. Things are. I have one of my pages I did not refresh yet, and that's the one I think that I'm going to find it on. So it's going to be funny if I do find it. But I mean, it was clear. It was, and I can't remember what all he said, or else I would just say it and not have to worry about giving you any comparisons. But let's see.
Look at my True Social. It might be over here.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's going to end up driving a lot of people towards back towards True Social. You know, I mean, I'm on True Social, but I don't spend any time on there. I don't have time because of everything else that I'm doing and dealing with, and you know, it's just crazy that. Oh, let's see here. Oh boy,
Yeah,
I hate it when you can't find it right off the bat. You know, it's annoying as all get out.
It really is. And I could swear I shared it. I could swear I shared it. So I'm wondering if the poster didn't take it down.
So, you know, I got to ask, what is going on here at DIA? What is Dallas International Airport? I believe it would be. Give me a second here.
Or the Defense Intelligence
Agency. They got a demon in a briefcase. Thanks for being patient. The lizard people keep stealing our tools. Apologies for the noise. It takes really big drills to get to the underworld. Forgive the mess. Building secret underground tunnels can get quite untidy. This is at the Dallas International Airport. Or Dulles. Is it Dulles? Is it Dulles? Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. I see. Yeah. Denver. That's there's already tunnels underneath Denver. You know. So it's yeah. But go ahead, Slow. You found something?
No, I didn't. Something. I didn't find anything. There was somebody that had put everything together.
Didn't find anything. Your mic is going a little crazy.
There was somebody that put everything together, and I'm trying to find that video now.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But it was like 2,976 days, and then it was 2,976 deaths, or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there was an equivalency match for the number of deaths in the towers and the death of Cheney, days to the amount of people. Yeah, stuff like that. I'll be danged, though. I'm not seeing it, and I'm going back farther and farther and farther. And there's even, you know, there's even more people in the, or more things being added into my feed than there was. Yeah, it connected the Iraq War, going after Saddam. Everything was in it. Everything.
I think I found it.
Okay, let me pull mine down. Go ahead. Pull her out.
And this was put out by Miss Joker's Red Pill Army. So it's
the 9/11 ritual continues. Let's get into it. Now, a multitude of things happened over the past couple days, starting with the death of the former Vice President Dick Cheney, who died on November 3rd, who was Vice President at the time of 9/11. Then we have the first Muslim mayor of New York City, Mamdani, winning the election. Then we have a plane crash, which was a UPS carrier that went down in Louisville, in which was flight 2976. Now, can anybody tell me how many victims, excluding the hijackers, died in 9/11? Yeah, 2976. Same number. Now, that was on the FBI website, but if you go to Wikipedia, it actually says 2977. If you add Dick Cheney's death, he's that last person. Now, where did this plane crash? At the Muhammad Ali International Airport. Now, who did they say that was one of the hijackers responsible for 9/11? Khalid Muhammad. Coincidence? Let's keep going. Now, in that plane crash, the Louisville mayor stated that there was 9 people that got killed and 11 others injured. What? And this thing just keeps going because the type of plane it was decommissioned from the passenger service on October 26, 2014, in which from the time it went down, 9 days, 11 years. Now, going back to Mamdani, he was born October 18th, 1991. From that time to when Trump got inaugurated in office this year, it was 33 years, 3 months, and 3 days. You mean to tell me that the tower stood 33 years before they fell? And let's not forget that Trump is from New York. Not to mention that UPS plane only reached 175 feet before crashing, right? You guys, that's the same flight number as the second plane in 9/11. How? And the cherry on top, they said that second plane had a 33% load factor. Got it. If you guys don't think that we live in a matrix by now, I can't help you. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube Maverick Approach and let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
Is that the video you were talking about? You there with me there, brother?
I had muted myself because of the echo. So
Is that the video you were talking about?
yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah. So just they're numbers games. So it's I had muted myself because of the echo.
Yeah,
And no, I'm not having a secret safety meeting without anybody. Of course I'm not. Wink, wink, wink.
That's this.
Shutdown from 2 p.m. This shutdown.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's really.
Well, you want something to laugh at? You
Sure.
want something to laugh at? Let's laugh at. Let's laugh at something because this guy just his mode of common sense is a pure form of comedy that every one of us has grown to love. Now, who do you think I'm talking about?
Brother Nathaniel, maybe?
No, come on.
President, I'm going to be uncharacteristically brief. Tomorrow I will be bringing 2 bills before the Senate. They both have to do with the shutdown and Congressional Bay. The first bill is the No Shutdown Paychecks Act. The second bill is the Withhold Member Pay During Shutdowns Act. The first bill would provide that as long as we're shut down, and I'll explain why in a moment, as long as we're shut down, no member of Congress can be paid. And the money will not be reimbursed at a later date or repaid at a later date. The second bill to address any 27th Amendment concerns will say during the shutdown, members of Congress will not receive their pay, but their pay will be escrowed and they will receive it after the government is opened back up. Look, we're in day 36. Like you, Mr. President, I've heard a lot of rumors about we're that close to reaching an agreement. We've been that close for a week. Frankly, I hope I'm wrong in saying this, but I don't think we're really that close. I wish we were, and I hope we are. But I think we're going to be in the shutdown a while longer. That doesn't give me any joy to say that. In the meantime, none of our staffs are being paid. No federal employees are being paid. I got some numbers in this morning that that federal workers have had to borrow $365 million so far during this 36-day shutdown in order just to pay their rent. Our military is only being paid partially. Our air traffic controllers are not being paid. People who receive SNAP payments are only being partially paid. I don't think anybody wants to see anybody go hungry in America, and that's not a partisan statement. I think that's a bipartisan statement. There's precedent for this, Mr. President. Some may say, well, this violates the 27th Amendment. I don't think it does. That's why I'm offering two different flavors of bills. But in 2013, President Obama did the same thing that I'm doing now. They were in a shutdown, and President Obama supported legislation that said, if you don't open up government by this certain date, then you're going to lose your paychecks. And guess what? Members of Congress had an epiphany, and they found religion. They had a Damascene moment, and they opened up government. And that's all this bill will do. I'm not trying to grandstand. I wasn't going to bring this bill. When I got back here Monday, I heard all the rumors like everybody else that we were close. And I hope we are close, but we're not close enough. And so I'll offer these bills tomorrow, and people can vote yay or they can vote nay, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yep. Very simple.
Yeah. The Democrats actually blocked it from passing. Surprise, surprise. Both of the bills. I just seen that a little bit ago. Rick Scott was talking about it.
Yeah.
But
and then this here happened. That's all you got, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. There, that's muted so we can talk. All right. Yeah. This is a clip from Alina Habba in regards to something kind of big. Kind of big.
Under President Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi's leadership, protecting the homeland from radical Islamic terrorism and violent extremism is one of the Justice Department's highest priorities. The President's directives to federal law enforcement are very clear. Act quickly, work together, and stop threats before innocent people are harmed. Yesterday, my office, working hand in hand with the National Security Division in my office, did just that and charged 2 individuals by federal complaint connected to the Halloween terror plot in Detroit. The first suspect is charged with conspiring to provide material support to a designated terrorist organization. The second suspect is charged with transmitting violent, anti-Semitic threats across the internet to individuals in the state of New Jersey and beyond. The threat of terrorism is real. When Americans are threatened, we respond fast, focused, and together. As alleged in today's complaint, from around October 4th, 2024 to November 4th, 2025, Tomas Khan Jimenez Gazelle of Montclair, New Jersey, and Saeed Ali Mareh of Kent, Washington, along with other co-conspirators, used encrypted messaging applications to plan travel to Turkey and then to Syria to join ISIS as fighters. In their communications, they discussed detailed travel plans, physical training, weapons including firearms and IEDs, and methods to avoid law enforcement detection. According to the complaint, they pledged themselves to ISIS and were plotting acts of terrorism in our country. The messages also included photographs of Jimenez Gazelle standing in front of the ISIS flag holding a knife and Mareh wearing an ISIS hat. The complaint against Milo Siderat charges 2 counts of transmitting threats to interstate and foreign commerce. It describes a pattern of anti-Semitic messages advocating violence, along with images and purchases consistent with preparation for attack, including a knife and sword collection, tactical gear, and images of him practicing at a gun range. Jimenez, Gazelle, and Siderat are scheduled for initial appearances this afternoon in federal court in the District of New Jersey. Marais is scheduled for an initial appearance later today in the Western District of Seattle. Protecting the District of New Jersey and the United States, its people, its neighborhoods, and its institution is the core mission of our office. With our partners at the FBI and Maine Justice, we will continue to move swiftly and decisively whenever terrorism or hate threatens our communities. Thank you.
So that there is kind of like right up the road from you. They're in Michigan, right? You know, not too far north of you. It's kind of funny how these things are happening. Yeah. Oh, he stepped away. So I'm sitting here talking to. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Houston, 1,500 plus criminal aliens, gang members, foreign fugitives, and immigration offenders were arrested in a 10-day operation, including 17 gang members, 40 aggravated felons, 1 convicted murderer, 1 foreign fugitive, 13 sexual predators, 115 aggravated assault offenses, and 31 weapons offenses. 1 Mexican mafia gang member wanted in his home country of Honduras for murder was convicted of raping and impregnating his minor sister. These people are sick. 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 How many of you know about the Hopi prophecy? Let's see. Let me see if there is a thing on here. And do a search. I think I played this for you guys before, but I'm going to play this for you. And this is just the synopsis. This is only a 6-minute long. This is. Let's see. I want to make sure I get realized. Okay. This is only 6 or 7 minutes long. And this is just a breakdown of the prophecy. Okay. And I want you guys to listen to this, and then I want you guys to think about the third eye atlas, third eye at last, 3-eye atlas. Okay. Third eye at last. Okay. Coming into focus right now. Okay. And it's been covered for by a few different people, talking about how we're going to feel this energy and everything else. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. Okay. We don't know nothing. All right. But I want you to listen to this synopsis of the Hopi prophecy.
Time evolves and comes to a place where it renews again. There is first a purification time, then there's renewal time. We are getting very close to this time now. We were told we would see America come and go. And in a sense, America is dying from within because they forgot the instructions on how to live on earth. Everything is coming to a time where prophecy and man's inability to live on earth in a spiritual way will come to a crossroad of great problems. It's the Hopi belief, it's our belief that if you're not spiritually connected to the earth and understand the spiritual reality of how to live on earth, it's likely you will not make it. When Columbus came, that began what we term as the First World War. That was the true First World War when Columbus arrived. Because along with him came everybody from Europe. By the end of the Second World War, we were, in America, we were only 800,000. From 60 million to 800,000. So we were almost exterminated here in America. Everything is spiritual. Everything has a spirit. Everything was brought to you by the Creator, the one Creator. Some people call him God. Some people call him Buddha. Some people call him Allah. Some people call him other names. We call him Tonkashila, grandfather. We're here on Earth only a few winters. Then we go to the spirit world. The spirit world is more real than most of us believe. The spirit world is everything. Over 95% of our body is water. And in order to stay healthy, you got to drink good water. When the European first came here, Columbus, we could drink out of any river. If the Europeans had lived the Indian way when they came, we'd still be drinking out of water because the water is sacred. The air is sacred. Our DNA is made of the same DNA as the tree. The tree breathes what we exhale. When the tree exhales, we need what the tree exhales. So we have a common destiny with the tree. We are all from the earth. And when the earth, the water, the atmosphere is corrupted, then it will create its own reaction. Mother is reacting. In the Hopi prophecy, they say the storms and floods will become greater. To me, it's not a negative thing to know that there will be great changes. It's not negative. It's evolution. When you look at his evolution, it's time. Nothing stays the same.
Sedan Darwin skrev sitt berömda verk om arternas uppkomst har vetenskapen varit övertygad om att människan härstammar från aporna.
We always say, that might be your ancestor, but it's not our ancestor. He is a relative, but not our ancestor. You should learn how to plant something. That's the first connection. You should treat all things as spirit. Realize that we are one family. It's never something like the end. Just like life, there is no end to life.
Okay, so let me grab this link. Yeah, I'll share this one with you. But there's another one that is the full prophecy. Okay. Let me grab that. Actually,
the Hopi was out of Arizona.
45 minutes.
The Hopi was out of Arizona.
What's that?
The Hopi was out of New Mexico, Arizona.
The Hopi's out. Right. Yeah. And then this one here is.
On that note, I got to get going. I got to go pick my kid up from basketball practice.
Yeah, I kind of thought you had already absconded because of the fact that you weren't responding before. So
no, I left you a note. I had to step outside for a minute because the chickens were squawking. I went out there and there was 8 eggs in the coop.
Yeah,
they were yelling at me because I hadn't collected the eggs yet today.
Yeah,
but I came.
All right.
Yeah, I was actually listening to the Hopi prophecy. But
yeah, and, well, this is the update here. Oh, you
the philosophies that natives have been. What I do know is that all the philosophies that natives have been speaking about from before 300,000 years or more, maybe 3 billion years before, we all know where we came from.
Right.
And now the change is going to happen very soon.
Like next week.
Could be. Yeah, we don't know. It could have happened already.
With 3-Eye Atlas, we're really looking at that object fulfilling the Hopi prophecy.
It's very, very, very huge.
Oh my goodness. So,
and every tribe have been talking about it, that the change will come, and they have many words for it, Mahio'o and all that. You know?
Right.
And I was listening to some stories from these people, and they said, oh yeah, we know about that. He said, but you know, it's immense. It's a change in the world.
It is. It's
and
a
the
birthing.
Galaxy will all be different. Everything will be different, but you won't even be aware of it until suddenly the realization will come. Something just happened last week. You know, we were out camping and we were eating, and then I just felt weird. That was the movement.
Yeah. So that guy put together a series of videos, and it's Roger.Ray5 on, I don't know if that's on, it's on TikTok there. Roger.Ray5. And it's, I guess that was part 3. It didn't say how many were there, but I thought it was interesting that you know, that the 3-Eye Atlas is here, and you know, and I mean, I'm noticing things. Okay, prime example. Okay, none of my dogs are in heat right now. And the dogs that have been kenneled since they ran away, the three runaways from last year. Okay, they've been kenneled up, you know, all this time. They love their kennel. They'll come out, they'll run around, they'll play, and then they'll go back in their kennel on their own. Broke out. Okay, I mean, literally ripped the wire mesh that is in between or built into this thing, ripped out the panels, ripped them out. And all the dogs have like been within 10 to 15 feet of the camper since like Friday. Now they will face the driveway, all of them standing and bark, and there's nobody there. Okay. At nighttime, the big field across from me, they're all facing the big field. There's nothing in the field. I got trail cameras out there. Absolutely nothing in the field whatsoever. And the dogs are barking. And it's kind of weird. It's only to the west and to the south. The west and the south is the directions that they're barking. And it's been very consistent. And the thing is they didn't break out and leave the farm. Okay. They joined the rest of the pack standing and barking. You know, they're seeing something that I'm not. They're hearing something that I'm not. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's the dogs. The dogs have been weird, very weird.
Yeah, man.
So I'm not sure what direction that this is going to go. But yeah, so you got to take off, huh? All right.
Yeah, I got to get my kid from basketball.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for a while, 3 hours, 42 minutes. I did have more to show, but I am getting a bit tired. I'm on early, and so I think I'm going to go ahead and call it there, and then come back again tomorrow. I've got a bunch of things I need to get dog food out here at AP's. I ran out last night. So I'm in the process of working on trying to get that done, and trying to get it done today is my primary focus. So that'll give me some time to work on that. So I will be back with you guys again tomorrow, probably 11 between 11 and 12. I should be on by then. I'll go through the rest of what I have here today, and then anything that comes up tonight or this afternoon. I'll have all of that prepared as well. But yeah, just keep your wits about you guys. You got a lot of things to think about with everything going on, but remember to stay grounded in our Creator, because that is where we find our strength, purpose, and direction. All right, and remember that He loves you. He created you, so there's got to be something to it, right? All right, and we've lived this long for a reason. There's purposes in everything. What exactly it is, sometimes we bang our heads off the wall trying to figure out exactly what it is. But, we keep plugging along, and that's what we're going to keep doing. So with that, remember, our Creator loves you. His Son loves you. We love you. And we will see you again tomorrow. I'm going to take you out with a song, and we will catch you guys later.
Later, folks.
Another face down in a cold motel. Just 23 with stories to tell. Parents crying in the morning light. Another candle won't bring them back tonight. Cargo slips across a quiet shore. Chemicals dressed for a shadow war. White as snow, but it stains like blood. Every pill pulls a soul through the mud. You say it's distant, just a foreign supply, but I see the flags draped where our children lie. How many more gotta fall? How many more gotta fade before you call it what it is? Not just a game you play. It's coming through the cracks from Caracas to LA, and we're dying in the silence while you look the other way. Powder lines in the sand. Will you draw one where you stand? Backroom deals and a winked exchange while the streets get colder, numb with pain. They call it policy, they call it trade, but it's blood for dollars in a slow parade. We buried hope next to law and faith, and you send thoughts when we need states. Diplomacy ain't worth the cost if all we do is count the lost. You say it's complex, just a war on demand, but I say it's murder with a shaking hand. How many more gotta fall? How many more gotta fade before you call it what it is? Not just the price you pay. It's coming through the cracks from Caracas to LA, and we're dying in the silence while you look the other way. Powder lines in the sand. Will you draw one where you stand? Sanctions ain't enough, and words are wearing thin. You shake their hands while we count the dead again. Don't call it a tragedy when it's strategy in disguise. This ain't a storm, it's a genocide. How many more gotta fall? How many more gotta fade? While poisons cross the border, sanctioned by charades. It's coming through the cracks from Caracas to LA, and we're buried by the silence while you turn the other way. Powder lines in the sand. If not now, then when you'll stay. In the land of the free, one by one, they start to breathe.